Okay, now is it working? Internet is acting very weird here, so looks like it's up and running now. So let me check these comments again. Okay, I hear my echo somewhere. Okay, let's see here. Aaron, is it on? I'm gonna hit the comment. Is it on? Yes. And then I said stand by. Stand by. Got the okay. Cody Knox is watching. It said I was live, and it wasn't show me that I was live. And I'm like, I've been talking to myself, and I know there are comments on way faster than this. So, okay, let me start the Facebook people over yet. I'm about to get the TikTokers over here in a second as well. That was so weird. I was literally on right at 9:00, and I was talking for 4 minutes, and everything lights up like it's supposed to. And I was like, there's not one comment on here. There's no way there's only one comment. Save. All right, let me get the comments ready here on Facebook. It's working way faster now. So, okay. Turn those on. Okay. All right. Anybody watching on Facebook, please give me a comment. That way I can make sure the comments are working over there. Looks like we're going to be good to go. Lane Day. Lane. Good 2A2 football Friday. Yes, it is. Exchange. Good to hear from you, Exchange. Okay. Now we're cooking with grease here. I was nervous for a second. I'm like, is no one going to be on the show? Okay, I'm hearing myself. I should not have anything. Is my earpiece on? I don't know where I'm hearing my echo at. Bizarre. That's the reason why. Okay, good to go there. So here in a second, I'm going to get the TikTok going crowd over here. I'm going to copy this YouTube. YouTube is the home link, so I'm going to drive everybody into YouTube, although we're streaming on Facebook and TikTok. And there's Facebook. Thank you, Jin. Vincent, Elgin America. T-Fred, I talked about you earlier when I thought the internet was working, but I'll say it again. I had a good practice run. It was good to see T-Fred on Friday night in Guthrie. You don't get to see T-Fred that often in Guthrie. You usually see him at the state basketball tournament or somewhere outside of Guthrie. It was good to catch up with T-Fred. Jeff Cape talking about those 5A football games. Absolutely. I got some notes on 5A, got a lot of 5A notes, and told you at the beginning, round one, there were 5 games out of 8. That could be pretty darn good. One of them wasn't so good. And one of the 3 only won by 10. Didn't play that well. We'll get in that here in a second. So, all right. Everything is working. Let me get the TikTok started here, and we will get going. Lots and lots to talk about. Oh, I got to change the title. Title, paste. All right, go live on TikTok. Perfect. I can shut YouTube, Facebook, perfect. And comment in TikTok to get everyone over to YouTube. Is that going to go through? There it goes. Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. Hope everyone's having a fantastic weekend as we get set for round 2 of the Oklahoma High School football playoffs. Getting ready to talk to you for at least the next hour here on the show. And we are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. I can tell you, all the comments are coming in quickly. I appreciate that. The best way to get your comment is over on YouTube. For all my friends over on TikTok, I put that link in the description, so click that. not only to get your questions seen better on YouTube, but also to subscribe to our homepage. That's where everything happens on YouTube. So if you haven't already subscribed and liked, we'd appreciate that. I haven't looked at the count on our last show on the High School Huddle, which is our Wednesday night show. It's our live show at 6 o'clock with Ronnie and Phil. It was by far the most viewed show we've ever had. I can tell you we had more devices than we have subscriptions. So if you watch it on YouTube or you sneak over to YouTube, please subscribe and like, man. We'd really, really, truly appreciate that. So that would be awesome. And if you are already subscribed on YouTube, thank you for that. For my friends on TikTok, the link is in the comment section. Also streaming on Facebook as well. I got your comments over here on Facebook as well. But again, YouTube is the homepage. And that way you can get notified of not only the live shows, but all the other stuff that we have. We've had coach interviews, official interviews, and we got a whole lot more coming in the future. Yes, even after football season. We're working out the details on that, but yes, more after football. So can't wait for that. Okay, let's get into this. You start from 6A. There were, 4 teams with byes in 6A1, 4 teams with byes in 6A2. Again, the overall picture for the high school playoffs in round number 1, not too many upsets. I think there were a couple of fours that beat ones, but nothing crazy. Didn't have that one that go, wow. Didn't see that one coming. So none of that, but there were some great matchups. Great matchups in round 2. We'll get those here in a little bit. 5A is crazy. Class A is crazy. 6A2 can get there. 6A1 could get there. Of course, 4A is going to be really good this week. I cannot wait for it. T. Fred said 929 views. And the way to remember that, thank you, T. Fred, 929 devices. Some people, coach's office or other places will have one link up and then 3 or 4 people are watching it. Kind of like on football games, you see 4,000 devices. Well, that's 4,000 devices. Well, it might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or a bunch of people watching. I know like the games that we do in Guthrie, they're restaurants that stream the game, and there's obviously more than one person watching it. So, so 929 devices on last High School Huddle's live show, which was about 3 hours. I don't think we'll go 3 hours again. We just had so much to get into Wednesday night show with a couple interviews, state championship picks, playoff bracket discussions. So Wednesday night 6, I don't think we'll go that long, but man, the longer we went, the longer the show went, the stronger the numbers got. So, man, we love talking football, and we'll keep doing that as well. So, Nash, yeah, so many good games. There are so many good games, and they're even better this week. Exchange was the next comment, just perfectly in line with that as well. Billy, watching on Facebook. Good to see you, Billy. Lane, who do you got, Wyandotte or Stroud? Wyandotte with a nice victory. The Bears get the nice victory. I think Stroud, especially at home, will have the advantage on the field, but we'll see. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Billy's over on the YouTube. Hey, Billy. Elgin in the house. Elgin continues to rock and roll. So does Tuttle. Could we have a clash of a repeat of last year's state championship? There are some tough tests ahead of Tuttle and Elgin this week and next week as well. That's what's going to make it great. Bella says hello from Clinton. Hello, Bella. Sorry the season came to an end for the Red Tornadoes. Crazy scenario for Red Tornadoes in Clinton in week number 10 with the ineligible player, only played 7 seconds. Instead of hosting the first round playoff game, had to go on the road to Tuttle, and Tuttle shows why they're one of the best. And I have some numbers from that ball game as Tuttle truly dominated on that one there. So how did Junior Grant's guess argument go that district would go 0-4? Glad you asked, Chris. So Grant thought 5A4 would go 4-0 against 5A District 3. He was close, but I was right. I was right on this one. Grant usually gets the upper hand on me, but here he is. He's here. Just in time, Grant. Just in time. We were talking about 5A4 and 5A3. That goes 2 and 2. And we're going to get to 5A here in just one moment. It was 5A, man, such a fun class. Brent. Chris, I didn't even realize you followed me on TikTok. Had to verify to make sure it was you. Yeah, so a lot of times people are highly, highly disappointed when I follow them, me personally, on social media because they think it might be Chris Evans, the actor in Captain America. It happened to me the other day. I was talking to some folks on some swag and merchandise, and they go, "Is this Chris Evans?" I said, "No, sorry to disappoint you. It is me." So that happens all the time. So it's me, Brent. Hello from Bacola. The Indians, big victory for them. 2A2 games are loaded. Absolutely, they're loaded. Grant says he's here. Talking about 5A4, 5A3. So close. Yeah. One of those games went into double overtime. And he was, Grant did get the Newcastle one right. 35 was spot on. So talking to some folks over the last couple days, and some are telling me, Grant, you might know, a few have told me that Pryor might be a really good challenge for Pryor. So we'll talk about that as well. I'm going to get through all these comments here real quick, though. Excited to see some games in 2A. Absolutely. Metro playing Lindsay will be Metro against physical Lindsay would be fun. Jones playing a competitive score. Yeah. Now we're starting to with the 2A. We know 2A. We had Washington, Marlowe. They played in the regular season. That was nice. But Metro and Jones, they've had a couple games, but now we'll definitely see in 2A football. T-Fred, I guarantee you Grant Oliver knew that McGinnis is going to Claremont on Friday night. I have a feeling that Grant Oliver knew that. Russell Family Services, with all the schools that have live streams of these football games like yours, what do you think the future of utilizing replays in at least 5A and 6A may have saved Guthrie's season F available? Talking about, I think we're a long, long ways from that. Just because even if you did it playoffs only, not every game is streamed with multiple cameras. And so if you can't have it at all locations, then you can't have it. So I think that's a long, long, long ways away from happening as far as instant replay is concerned. And I think Russell Family Services is asking about a replay on one specific play on pass interference in the end zone. Even if there was replay, that type of play would not be reviewed, just kind of like on the other ones. But I think we're a little ways away from that. Grant and T-Fred having their moments. I can't think of two people that might not like Guthrie as those two, so they're having a McGinnis Irish party right now. Grant loves him, whoever Guthrie's playing. Walter says go Sulphur. Yeah, they're rocking and rolling. OCS, absolutely. Oh, we got hello from Sulphur. Got a lot of friends in Sulphur. Good to see you guys. Grant says, man, I tell you what, our district really tough this year. It wouldn't shock me, but I think I will take Pryor. Okay, Grant. You would have a really good idea on that. So me too. But remember, Newcastle, 5A1 for the last 2 years. Grant knows this, but only one loss in those 2 years. So district losses. So that's really good. Jeff says, I have a feeling won't be much to see in Claremore. I would tend to agree with that. Okay, Grant wanted one victory from Guthrie this year. So, man, it's a real thing with Grant Oliver. Of course, he grew up that well. His family, it's a weird deal with Grant Oliver. Del City, Carl Albert, family on one stadium, goes to another school. I'm all confused with Grant Oliver sometimes. Hilton with the big win Friday. Yes, and Hilton's got a big one this week. Good to see Dakota over on Facebook. And Brent, just like clockwork on YouTube. Hilton Bulldogs come to Tallahena on Friday. Looks like a good game on paper. I really like Tallahena. I of course, they were my preseason team to win it at all. So I got Carlisle over McAllister. This is T. Fred over on YouTube. McGinnis over Claremore. Yes, that's a shocker. Mack over Dale City, and Pryor over Newcastle. Chris Devine, talking about that 6A1 matchup between Mustang and Broken Arrow. That will be interesting. That's a rematch of earlier this year. Mustang lost to Broken Arrow 14-7, but four-star quarterback Jaden O'Neal did not play in that game. In fact, we'll kind of start right here with 6A1 real quick. So, not surprised that Norman Mustang beat Norman North. What was that score here? Let's pull this up here real quick. Mustang won 42-17, but Jaden O'Neal, stud quarterback, commit to Florida State, only throws 12 passes, 4 of 12 for 71 yards and a touchdown. So I don't know why only 12 passes. I don't know if Mustang trying to get it done on the ground and not show a whole lot for next week's game, especially since O'Neal didn't play in the first game against Broken Arrow, and now maybe they were trying to keep it vanilla because they thought they could, and by the score they could against Norman North last week as they went at 42-17. Union over Norman 49-42, so we have Union and Bixby, and we also have Broken Arrow versus Mustang. So 3 of the 4 teams on that side of the bracket up in the Tulsa area. And the same thing on the bottom half of the bracket. 2 of the 4 teams on the bottom bracket up in Tulsa. So Owasso and Yukon. Congratulations, Yukon. I need to look it up. I can't remember the last time they got a playoff victory, but they beat Deer Creek 24-7. Edmond Memorial, no issues with Edmond North. So we have Yukon at Owasso and Edmond Memorial at Jinx for the quarterfinals. And then the other thing to remember as a big note here for all the classes this year. So right now, you know, the first 2 rounds are at a school site. But next week with the state semifinals, not everyone's, I think some teams are off because of a bye, but nonetheless, or is it the week before championships? Nonetheless, if it's an East and West side school, remember, semifinals are neutral sites, but if it comes down to a West team versus an East team, let's just say, for example, and this is for all classes, let's do here, let's just say Edmond Memorial beats Jinx, and Owasso beats Yukon. Obviously, Owasso's on the east side, Edmond Memorial's on the west side. This year, that game would be played on the west side, so Owasso would have to come to a neutral site on this side, on the west side of the state. And that's a rotation. The odd years is played on the west side. The even years are played on the east side. So keep that in mind. So when we get to the semis and it's a neutral field, east-west, this year the West will host a semifinal game, obviously on a neutral site. So keep that in mind. Okay. Again, if you're on TikTok, it's much easier to put your comments over on our YouTube channel. I put the YouTube channel in the link. So I'm not going to ignore them, but it's a lot easier to see them over here on this side here. Exchange says there will be some schools having to drive away, which should make things interesting. Yes, there's a few of those. I got those. A few of those. I saw a thing the other day. Coach Condit of Muskogee, he got a big win for him. We'll talk about that for him and what that was for him. I guess I did not. Oh yeah, here it is. So here's some of them. Hooker goes to Rejoice Christian. That's 342 miles, 5 hours and 18 minutes. Fairland to Mangum in Class A is 4 hours and 49 minutes, 338 miles. Caddo to Laverne, 323 miles, 5 hours and 13 minutes. Weatherford to Broken Bow, Western Oklahoma, all the way down to Southeast Oklahoma. That is a big time drive. 4.5 hours, 306 miles. Oaks Mission going to Ryan, Class C football, 8-man, 285 miles. Pensacola to Fairview is 280 miles, 4 hours and 17 minutes. So, yeah, there are definitely some healthy drives coming up for them. Chris Frost, was it a Fort Gibson fumble near the 5-yard line that gave Ada a chance to win? I saw the end of YouTube while sitting in the Elgin stands and did not replay it. Boy, I don't think I followed up on that game. No, I did not. Fort Gibson and Ada. Yeah, that would be right. No, did not see that. So Ada and Fort Gibson. Ada won 34-27. Wow, I'll have to check into that. Get my notes down. This is why I get on here so you guys get this stuff. Ada, Fort Gibson. 5-yard line. I'll go look that up probably tonight. Thank you. Brent brings up a good one. Allen pulling out the win against Woodland surprised me Friday night. So we talked about that game a little bit. Of course, Woodland, the defending state champions, obviously not the same team from last year. They lost quite a bit. And Fairland beat Woodland in week 10 for Fairland to host a first-round playoff game. Congratulations to them. They won their first-round playoff game. But Woodland falls to Allen. Allen's had a great season. I'm not too surprised with that one just because Woodland's down. But Allen's been good this year. It was a great game, though, 31-26. So not too surprising, but really good. Off Thanksgiving break for some, yes, I can tell you right now the teams that will have a bye week on Thanksgiving would be both A1 and A2, 2A1, 2A2, 3A, and 4A would have bye weeks on Thanksgiving break. So, again, A1, A2, 2A1, 2A2, 3A, and 4A will have byes this Thanksgiving. 4A football state championship, the last game of the football season on December 13th. T. Fred, good reminder. If it's we going back to the East-West hosting, T. Fred does remind everybody if it's two East Side schools. So if it's Bixby and Jinx, they would play on the East Side, obviously. But good to note that, T. Fred. Dustin, because Dustin asked the same exact question. So yeah, if Pryor and who's the East Side 5 team? If Pryor and Claremore were to play that would be a state championship game. Pryor McAllister would be East. So 5A is kind of a bad example just because of that. But I think everyone gets the point there on that. Weather for the Broken Arrow, we talked about that. It was tied. Okay, yeah, I'm definitely watching that game because Ada is a team that I talked about all season long that could give Elgin or Tuttle a good test if it was in the playoffs, and it will be second round Ada going on the road to Elgin. That'll be a fun game. Going to favor Elgin in that one, but that will be Ada came from that 4A4. Ada's been tested all good part of their season because of their schedule and also other districts. So that will be an interesting ball game. Can't wait to talk about that. Chris Hayes kind of helps us out here. I believe Ada was up and Fort Gibson was driving. They fumbled it with less than a minute left. Ouch. That's a hard thing to. Ooh. Ritzenmeyer for a good D line from Ada. Yep. And Ritzenmeyer, if there anybody can attack that, it would be Ritzenmeyer as he's getting close to 100 career touchdowns. I'm not sure if I got my note. Yeah, I think he had 5 touchdowns. And so help me out, Elgin guys. I think he's 2 away. I think he started with 93. I think he had 5 touchdowns last week. I think he had 5 touchdowns. Help me out, Elgin folks. I think he's at 98. Crazy. Dakota, you think that Hilton will be a close game on Friday? Hope they pull it off. Well, obviously rooting for you, Dakota. I will be honest with you. Let me look it up here real quick. Make sure I got all my things in it. Hilton, very impressive. Overtakes home at 47-19 on the road to Talihina. Talihina is a perfect 11-0. Talihina couldn't field a team back in 2022, and now they were in a state championship game last year. They're perfect 11-0 this year. They got an outstanding quarterback. They got 3 wide receivers that can go and get it. I think a lot of people, including myself, would favor Talihina on that game. It's at home as well. Talihina got past Ketchum 51-8, but never say never. But don't let the outside. I think Dakota looks like he might be a player, maybe outside, maybe a parent. Regardless, don't let the outside noise get to you, because I think everyone's going to be picking Talihina. And if you win that game, a lot of people will be talking about it. That's for sure. And Hilton's been a good football team all season long. I'm not taking anything away from Hilton. I just think Talihina is really good this year. Dustin, Adair versus Holdenville should be a good game. Absolutely. Holdenville played in that tough district with Davis and Dibble. By the way, all 3 of those teams win their games this week, so that will be a big-time fun game to watch. Holdenville easily over Kellyville, the Pony 68-13. Adair easily over Wilburton 53-7. So that would be fantastic. Someone earlier had mentioned Wyandotte, the Bears. They do get the victory in 2A2 football as they finished 3rd in that District 3, which is a very tough district. But they take down Valiant on the road, and Valiant perfect 9-0. Vian gets them in Week 10. And now Wyandotte gets them in the first round of playoffs. So Valiant, the Bulldog season, came to a crashing halt this year. Great start, great team. Prince and Golston had a great season, but it's tough. It's tough, especially when you play Valiant any time of the season. Then you had the Wyandotte team, a team that we had talked about earlier this year. Adair got them and Salina got them, but they're still a good football team, and they proved that. Now they will be. Wyandotte takes on Stroud. I apologize. Hopefully you guys, Wyandotte plays Stroud this week. And that game is at Stroud. Stroud beat Beggs 49-21. Holdenville, Adair. I got into the District 3 talk again. So Holdenville at Adair, Wyandotte at Stroud. That'll be fun. Okay, there it is. Vincent Saylor, thank you. He has 95. He has 95 touchdowns. I was talking to some my Elgin friends, and I said, I think he needs 3 games, 4 max to break that record. So he needs 5 more touchdowns. If he has the week like he did last week, he'll break that. He'll have that record this week as well. So if there was a Heisman Trophy winner in Oklahoma high school football, it would probably have to be Ritzenmeyer. I think Mark Rogers said that on Wednesday night's show on the High School Huddle. And that's there's some great Heisman candidates out there, but man, when you look at Ritzen's numbers, and he hasn't played all the games, full games this year, because they've all been blowouts. I meant to look at that earlier today with Elgin, because man, if they're in a tough game with Ada, I don't think Elgin's been in a fourth quarter game except for maybe Lott MacArthur to begin the season. They won that game 42-21. It was close at half, but that will be interesting. Grant says Salina win by 45. Grant has a great way of just saying it the way it is. And if there was going to be a team win by 45, it would definitely be Talihina. Another good matchup in 4A football, Ardmore and Cushing. Absolutely. I thought when I said this last week on the show, when the brackets came out, not that there's an easy path for anybody, especially 4A football. I think Cushing probably has the best route to the state semifinals. Although they beat Hilldale 63-34. Ardmore very dangerous. They got past Elk City 28-21 in a really good number 2 versus number 3 district matchup. But Ardmore very athletic, and Ardmore couldn't win a game. Well, they won some in years past, but made the move from 5A down to 4A. But I think Cushing with Keldon Fry, Coach Morgan, and here I do it again. I had it perfectly next week. Roman Tucker, I believe his name. Anyway, I thought Cushing, of all the teams in 4A, all of them, I thought Cushing had a pretty good direct path to the state semifinals. Not that Ardmore can't win that game, but Elgin's going to have to get past Ada. Broken Bow is going to have to get past Weatherford. I think that's probably maybe number 2 easiest path. But Tuttle has to get past Grove. Grove with a nice victory over Sallisaw. So Tuttle and Elgin have more difficult games, I believe, than maybe Cushing or Broken Bow to get to the state semifinals. So we'll see how it plays out. That's on paper. Of course, the games are, thank goodness, played on the field. So we'll see how that works out. Grant Oliver, game of the week for me is Kingston versus Marlowe. So in my personal poll, I need to ask you guys a question. My personal poll would be number 4 versus number 5. I have Marlowe at number 4 and Kingston number 5. So that would be a big matchup down in Stevens County. Marlowe at home, that will definitely help them. Dustin on Facebook, don't sleep on Wyandotte. We talked about that. Are my comments popping up over here? Okay, good. The code, I got kids go to Hilton. I know a bunch of the boys that play at Hilton. Okay, awesome. Good luck, man. That would be a great victory. No doubt about that. Chris Hayes, your game of the week. You know, I have not written out the top 10 games of the week. That's usually my Monday assignment. 6A1, nothing. Union Bixby doesn't. Mustang Broken Arrow is going to be up there. That's definitely in the top 3 somewhere. Stillwater, Southmore, Choctaw, Sapulpa. I think Sapulpa gets to the state semis. I think they beat Sapulpa this week. Sand Springs, Piedmont, Muskogee, Pump City. Let me get my Muskogee note out here real quick. I thought this was 6A2, Muskogee. I got notes, but they're not in order. That's another Monday assignment. 6A2, Ponca. I got game notes here. I can go through these here in a little bit. I just want to talk what you guys want to talk about. 6A2. I know I wrote it down somewhere. 6A2. 6A1. 6A. Piedmont. Got the victory. By the way, Carl Albert's won 50 games in a row now. There it is. Coach Dale Condit, of course, the legendary coach, 6 state championships at Wagner High School. First year at Muskogee. Tough year for the Roughers. They got in the state, and obviously in the playoffs. Only 4 teams didn't. But Muskogee got the victory over Northwest Classen 62-16. But Coach Condit now has 51 career playoff victories in 28 seasons. And he set a state record for 22 straight first-round playoff victories. That's pretty darn good. 22 straight first-round playoff victories. I don't care what class that's in. That's big time. Hunter Shepard in the house. Mr. Sassy. Hunter's busy. He's got not only football, but now he's got basketball going on. He is a busy person. Doc Holliday's picking Marlowe to beat Kingston by 10. I got Marlowe winning that game as well. Hunter. Breaking news. Word on the street. Marlowe has some guys out, but not sure who. That's unconfirmed. Grant's going Kingston. Of course, Grant and I have to disagree on something. Usually 4 or 5 times a week. 5A3, baby. 5A3. We'll talk about the McAllister game here in a second. Wow. Okay, so timeout on Football Talk real quick. I just realized today that Savion Sims, the stud pitcher for Edmond Santa Fe, was at Edmond Santa Fe. He throws over 100 miles an hour. I guess he transferred to a Christian school down in Dallas. And it came up because he signed with OU, which it looks good on paper for OU, but he's not going there. He might be a top 5 Major League Baseball draft pick. I had no idea he went down to Texas, though. That's not, man. Wish you stayed at Santa Fe. I don't know the reason why. It might be a good reason. I don't know, but man, dadgone it. Okay, sorry. Chris Frost, after Tony scored his touchdown Friday night, he and Ritson both did backflips side by side. Crazy my back. I hope those backflips were on the sideline. That would be an easy penalty for the official to call there. Trenton Tucker. Cushing quarterback has 97 total touchdowns. I'm telling you, Cushing is a dark horse. I've been talking about it all season long. Kellen Fry can play linebacker for any team, and they play both ways, and they're good at both ways. And they've been doing it all season long. Sometimes some schools, especially in the larger classes, but they try to wait till this part of the year. But, man, they've been doing it all year. And I've been, Coach Morgan is fifth season. That will be fun. I think, again, Cushing with Ardmore this week, I think Cushing gets that victory. I'm sure Grant has Ardmore in that game. But that would be a classic Elgin Ada State semifinal matchup too. So that would be fun. Okay, Grant and I agree. Okay, I'm catching up on comments here. Grant says Cushing will win by 35. And I don't know what happens when Grant and I agree. I really haven't looked at the statistics when Grant and I agree, so we'll see. Marlo on the road. Exchange, agree. Grove has been on the road since losing to Cushing. And yep, I picked Grove to win this past week. I know a lot of people didn't, but I had Grove winning over Sallisaw, and they do get that victory by 3 touchdowns, 35-14. Hello. Went to Grove a couple years ago for a playoff game. Fun atmosphere. It was freezing cold, but it's still a fun atmosphere in Grove, Oklahoma. Just north of Grand Lake, for all the folks who don't know where Grove is at. A lot of people, I can't keep up production, okay. Going to take Marlo. Production now is on the, he's tracking us now, holiday tracking. T-Fred, McGinnis, Claremore in your top 10. I'll have to look at it, T-Fred. I got to tell you, I really like McGinnis in that ball game. Claremore, Cecil Garrett IV wasn't even the main story in that game. That's the big name, T-Fred, that you have to get ready for the Bishop McGinnis Fighting Irish. By the way, T-Fred, I thought Bishop McGinnis had won a state championship. I thought they had won a national championship the way they celebrated in Gelsma. Claremore. Did I not write Claremore notes down? I definitely need to get to McAllister. I need to get to Del City. Collinsville. Here we go. So, Coweta had made the playoffs 20 times out of the last 24 years, and Coweta had some great numbers. Their quarterback, Legend Ellis, we talked about him several times, 161 rushing yards. He had a touchdown. He had a passing score as well. Brock Hillman, their talented running back, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Coweta, though, listen to this, Grant Oliver, special teams coach, probably went like this, any special teams. So Coweta missed an extra point, had a block punt return for a touchdown, missed a field goal, and missed a field goal attempt. Something went crazy with the snap, I think. So 4 big special teams plays was the difference in that Coweta Claremore game. And Coweta won that game. What was the final score there? Claremore won that game 28-26. Missed extra point, block punt, return for a touchdown, missed the field goal, and missed a field goal attempt. That will be a tough season for Coweta to end on. Coweta district champions out of 5A3. There are only 2 losses on the entire season as Claremore wins a good one, 28-26 up in Coweta, Oklahoma. So it will be Claremore on the road, or Claremore hosting Bishop McGinnis next week. Here he is, Justin McKinney. I caught up to you. Carla, we're about to be 50-1. Say it till you see it. Go Buffs. Well, I tell you a couple things on here on McAllister. So I'm glad you brought it up. I was hoping Justin would be on here. So let's talk about it. McAllister wins in double overtime. I haven't been able to go back and watch it quite yet. I'm going to. That's usually on Sundays. I try to hang out with the family until late at night, and I did a good job of that today. But so a lot of work on Monday. But McAllister wins it in double overtime. Collinsville, Bo Daniels had a 1-yard touchdown in double overtime after McAllister had scored, kicked the extra point. Collinsville scores a touchdown and elects to go for 2, and does not get in there. So that was a big-time victory for McAllister, who has now won 7 football games in a row. Perhaps the hottest team in the state of Oklahoma. I know there's teams that have won more games than McAllister, but McAllister started off 0-4 against 4 quality programs, and they have won 7 in a row. Some of those have been easy victories. A lot of people would beat the teams that they did, but they won some other great games as well, including the victory over Collinsville. I mean, even Grant Oliver picked Collinsville to win that game. So a lot of people, when on the Wednesday night show, it was about a 50-50 mix on that ball game. And so now McAllister will go on the road at Carl Albert. Carl Albert beats Duncan 45-17. And I know it's 4 touchdowns, but Duncan did some good things in that ball game, including against Carl Albert's biggest weapon in Elijah Matthews, who is a stud. He's a junior running back. But Easton Collier, I'm trying to find, my notes are out of order because I haven't put them in order yet. But Easton Collier had a pretty good football game for the Titans as well. They're starting to throw they threw the football really well and have in big time games. I know they did against Guthrie as well, and might not be on my paper notes, might be on my phone. But Carl Albert wins their 50th game in a row, so congratulations to them. Quarterback Weber torn his wrist against Mount St. Mary's. Mount St. Mary's? Mount St. Mary. That's 2A1 football. Mount St. Mary. Who did Mount St. Mary's play? Marlowe. Oh, that's not good. Quarterback Weber. By the way, someone said I look like the dad Weber. Torn his wrist against Mount St. Mary's. Oh, that's not good. We'll have to check up on that. Freddie Jones. Kadrian Miller from Ardmore threw 1,000 yards in the flex bone. That's pretty good in the flex bone. Grant. I need to keep up on the Facebook or in the comments faster. Justin, after facing them last week, they are beatable now, I believe. Okay, so talking about Carl Albert. Yes, the backflips were on the sideline. Thank you, Chris. Basil Scott, what are your 2A2 picks? We can do that. 2A2. So here we go. We got Wyandotte at Stroud. Now this is Sunday night. So Wednesday night is my final night. So if I say it here, I have time to think about it. I can change my picks. Wednesday night is the official pick. So remember that. Wyandotte at Stroud. I like both teams. I've been talking about them all season long. I like Stroud, though, at home. Holdenville at Adair. I was one of the first ones to put Adair at number 1 this year in 2A2 football. I think a lot of people have caught up with that. I'm going with Adair, although not very many people thought Holdenville. Davis. Oh, no. Davis beat Holdenville. But anyway, that'll be a great contest. Salina is at Davis. The Davis Wolves shut out Cassidy 49-0. Coach Harmon, Coach Harmon of Salina beats Antlers 48-12. Coach Harmon will have them ready against Davis. I think the defending state champions win that game at home, but Davis better get up early on them. Dibble at Vian. I think Vian's on a mission. I picked Davis to win the state championship at the beginning of the year, but after all the districts and the playoff brackets came out, Vian is going to be a tough out, whether it's Davis or Salina. So right now on Sunday night, way too far in advance, I have Vian. I think Vian's a team that can get to the state championship game. Davis can do it, and Salina can do it, but Vian, I think that Vian has no issues with Dibble this week. So that's my 2A2 look there. Hunter, the cool dude. Perkins and Cashel Hall's intriguing matchup in 3A. It is. Perkins, I got Cashel notes, I think. Yep. Listen to this. Cashel Hall forced 8 turnovers against Idabel. Idabel, made the playoffs. That's great job there. As Cashel Hall won 42-7, but 8 turnovers. Those 8 turnovers led to 42 points. So Coach Medina and Cashel Hall, 8 straight wins. Quarterback Barrett Mullen, 22 of 31 passing, 292 yards and 4 touchdowns. Don't forget Cassia Hall, the Pope, the sitting Pope was on the scoreboard of Cassia Hall. So they have a huge advantage. Doug Kropp, always good to hear from Doug Kropp. I heard Friday evening that Marlowe quarterback broke his hand in tackle. Yep, that's the second person who said that. Man, that is tough. Deadgone it. Marlowe's got Kingston. Maybe that's why. Maybe Grant knew that. He was trying to sandbag it for me. Chris Devine, what game are you guys going to be at Friday night? So I had a conference call today with my OSSA and the network, and it does look like right now on Sunday night that our production crew, Ronnie, Phil, myself, and everybody, I think we have the week off as far as calling and producing a football game, which is not a bad thing. I wouldn't mind a week off from producing and broadcasting, and that might allow us to go and watch a football game somewhere and hang out on the sideline. Well, it depends on the weather. If it's cold, I want a press box. But Chris, I think we're eligible to go out and watch a high school football game without having to broadcast, which it comes at a good time because we got a busy stretch. I think we'll have some semifinal games, and of course we'll have all the state championship games. So so we got to get together as a team and think about what we want to do on Friday night. Can't wait to have that discussion. That'd be cool. Scott, thoughts on Tuttle versus Grove? Man, I'm telling you, I said a couple weeks ago, Tuttle and Elgin, that's been the talk, rightfully so in 4A football, but they have not been in a game in a long, long time. So if it comes to the second half, they better remember how they won these games in years past, which I know they will. But, man, Grove is tough. Their only loss coming to Cushing earlier this year. But I go back to it. Tuttle has taken real big-time advantage of their move-ins or transfers, whatever they are. They've had a lot of transfers come in there. Cruz Campbell transferred a couple of years ago. 14 of 18 last week, 364 yards, 6 touchdowns. He has a completion rate of over 70%. He's thrown over 2,300 yards. He has 35 touchdowns. Only one interception for Cruz Campbell this year. Jordan Lane and Jalen Lane, they were transfers as well. They're wide receivers and DBs. They had a great game. Sean Roundsville, he's a Tuttle guy. He is born and bred Tuttle guy. He's a running back, 1,200 rushing yards, 24 touchdowns. Tuttle looking for the first ever state championship since 2018. I like Tuttle. At the beginning of the year, I picked Tuttle to go 14-0. I'm going to stick with that. But Tuttle will have their first test in a long, long time. They beat Guthrie 38-13. If I recall correctly, that might be their closest game, which was the first game of the year. And they've only gotten better since then. So I like Tuttle. Man, comments are going too fast. I hope if I miss them, bring them back in there. Justin, my said Collinsville was a good group of kids, respectful. I have to give him a shout out. Also, thank you for wishing my son well. He's back in full action this week. Good. Got that black thing off of his hand. That's good. Arm, hand. That's good. I was creeping on your Facebook page the other day, see if I can see any photos of him, see if he had that black thing taken off. So that's good. I'm glad he's healthy again. Grant, thank you, Grant. Collier threw for 151 yards, 2 touchdowns. Matthews, 66 yards. So yeah, Matthews, I think my other information's at the studio, but Matthews, I want to say I can't put the memory. It's either 150 yards per game or 165 yards per game. And so to hold him to 66 yards, a lot of teams have not been able to do that. A lot of teams next year will not be able to do that as well. So good job to the Duncan defense for doing that. So Easton Collier is throwing the ball well. He's thrown the ball well. It was Productions that said it looked like Coach Weber. Great looking guy. Laminga says Tuttle will beat Grove handily. Tuttle's pretty good. Yeah, tough draw for Grove, but I like Tuttle. So Hudson Morgan took over at quarterback. So Hudson Morgan, stud baseball player. I think he's committed or signed to Oklahoma State University to play baseball, but he is a very good. I think he plays linebacker and running back, so now he's having to play quarterback. We saw Plainview lost their quarterback. They were out. They're now out of the playoffs. Norman lost their quarterback. They're out of the playoffs as they had to move people over from other. In fact, Norman and Plainview brought wide receivers over to play quarterback, and they both got beat last week. So, man, that is tough news for Marlowe, and they got a tough team in Kingston too. So that game will be in Marlowe, and that'll be tough for the Outlaws. Kingston Redskins, a good victory over Kiefer. That's the only thing I recall from them this year. I'll have to look into that game a little bit more as well. Mark that down. Marlowe, QB, home versus Kingston. Got that down. Thank you, guys. Got that written down. Laminga, Davis will smoke Salina. So, yeah, I can definitely see it that way, unless Salina can get up early, but Davis does run the ball well and controls the clock very well. And Hunter says, I have Davis and Adair in the finals. Very well could happen. Very well could happen. Davis is going to be a very good Vian team that has Mason Wright at quarterback. Watched him a little bit this past week as well. He is a big dude to tackle. Everyone's still looking at Davis Adair, and I like Adair getting there. Davis, and beginning of the year, I picked Davis to win it. So I understand Davis, the flex bone, defending state champion. I get it all. Vian will be tough. Grant, I was wondering about that in A1 football. I was wondering if Kenny was going to be with us not only tonight but Wednesday. And I hope he is. I hope our friend Kenny can join us as Minko got the victory over Cashin 24-14. As Cashin season comes to an end, Cashin lost to Fairview, lost to Hooker, and lost to Minko, the three best teams they have on their schedule. They lost to. And Cashin, young team, they'll be very good next year. They will be in the state championship hunt next year. I didn't think they had it quite this year in a very loaded A1, very, very loaded A1. But, yeah, so Cashin has been eliminated. A lot of Adair. Doc Holliday confirms everything that I think a lot of people who know Marlowe football. Hudson Morgan is a beast. He is a beast. Got to watch him quite a bit this year. I've seen him several times, baseball and football, but the latest one against Washington a couple weeks ago. Same game that Brent Venables was at. Kelly, I haven't seen Kenny here, but I'm representing Cash. I knew Kelly be here. Absolutely. Courtney, come to Adair. Phil brought that up the other day. If Guthrie were to lose, which they did, Bishop McGinnis, we haven't even talked about that game yet. And we can definitely talk that. But anyway, he did say, we need to go to Adair. I was like, man, that's a long ways up there. A long ways up there. I've driven by it. I've never been to a football game. I've watched a little bit up there, but I've never been to Adair. So real quick, we'll get to the comments here again in a second. Keep them coming. The 5A football bracket, 13 points. A total of 13 points decided 4 games. And then 3 games were decided by 6 points. 1 game went in overtime and 1 game went to double overtime. I'm telling you, this 5A, it's been no secret. We've been talking about it all season long on how fun 5A is going to win. So obviously you got Carl Albert. They've now won 50 football games in a row. You have McAllister, who started off 0-4. They've now won 7 football games in a row, and some of them have been last possession for McAllister. It's just winning. Winning doesn't go away. It's a great feeling. Been there and done that with some of the teams. But so you have all those close games. So Lawton MacArthur, no issues with Noble. Kind of saw that one coming. Carl Albert, 28-point victory over Duncan. Kind of saw that one coming. Pryor Bishop Kelly, a little bit closer than expected. 46-36. Braden Ward, the quarterback for the Tigers, 358 yards, 3 touchdowns. Also added 121 rushing yards, 79, 470, 400, almost 500 yards of total offense. Is that right? Man, that's crazy. Couple wide receivers. The Parks kids and the Hughes kids had great games. But that game was a little bit closer. I think Coach had talked about that was played a little sloppy. Del City Booker T, that was the overtime victory game there. Caleb Blackwolf, he went off on Booker T Washington earlier this year. I mean, he scored in every way you could. And he scores a 10-yard touchdown reception on the first play in overtime to win it. Del City did have a 14-point lead with 4.5 minutes left in their game, but Booker T kicks the field goal in overtime, and then Del City on the first down play from the 10-yard line, Caleb Blackwolf from Sincere Overton. Blackwolf ended up with 3 touchdowns in that game. So that was a 34-31 overtime victory. We talked about Coweta Claremore a little bit earlier. Claremore won that game 28-26. McGinnis goes into Guthrie and wins that game 42-35. The quarterback for Bishop McGinnis, the Chance kid, did not suit out. He's also their punter. And so he suffered an injury against Lawton MacArthur. I believe it was a shoulder injury against Lawton MacArthur. And so that put Junior Harris at quarterback. And never wish any injuries, but I tell you, and Guthrie wasn't surprised. They kind of had an idea that it might have been Junior Harris, but they didn't have any game film on him running the ball at quarterback. So McGinnis kind of did some things in pregame that trying to throw things off didn't work. They kind of had an idea what was going on. But regardless, outside of that, Junior Harris, 127 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns, and he had big holes. I mean, I think I could have ran for 90 yards. If you're listening to the podcast, I gave a funny look when I said I would run for 90 yards. I'm just obviously kidding there. But McGinnis has some of the largest humans you've seen on an offensive line. They had some huge holes to run all night long. And McGinnis jumped out to a 14-0 lead just like that. And then they had a 28-7 lead. Guthrie able to come back and tie the game up at 35-35. Bishop McGinnis, and by the way, it was the most viewed game Guthrie's ever had. So that was awesome. But so Bishop McGinnis gets the ball with 11:54 to play in the fourth quarter, 35-35. And according to my numbers, I think I got the plays right. They go on an 18-play drive. 18-play drive. I do know this. They took 9 minutes and 20 seconds off the clock. 9 minutes and 20-second drive. It results in a touchdown, 42-35. Guthrie fans will talk about the 3rd down 11 pass interference call. But to be honest with you, McGinnis had, kind of like Carl Albert, had overcome some penalties. McGinnis and Carl Albert were 3rd down and 15, 4th down and whatever. And they were, a lot of times, were able to overcome those. So if it falls incomplete and there's no flag, it's 4th down 11, who knows what happens. But Guthrie does get the football back and gets around the 40, 45-yard line and held short on the 4th down. And Bishop McGinnis erupted like they had beaten Ohio State. It was quite the scene. But kudos to Bishop McGinnis, man. Their crowd was in it the entire time. They were loud. They were standing up a good part of the game. So it was a pretty good atmosphere inside Guthrie Joseph Stadium as Bishop McGinnis wins that football game. We talked about McAllister winning double overtime, 20-27. And then Newcastle easily over Altus, 49-14. So 5-8. It only gets better this week. Del City at Lawton Mac. McGinnis at Claremore, McAllister at Carl Albert, and Newcastle at Pryor. Certainly think that Newcastle-Pryor might be a top 10 game. We'll have to look at how all the games. But last week, the top 10 games on the High School Huddle was 5 of those games were in the top 10 with no apologies. Productions, would you by chance come to Kingston Marlowe game, which is in Kingston? Yeah. Is that in Kingston? I mean, you obviously would know. That would be. No. Yeah, it would. Hold on. Yes, it's in Kingston. My bad. When I put my bracket or my spreadsheet, I put it backwards. So that game is in Kingston, Oklahoma. So Marlowe on the road, obviously lost to Washington, so they would be on the road for the second game. Yeah, that's another game that we'll have to consider. Marlowe at Kingston. I don't think I've ever been to. Yeah, I've been to Kingston. In fact, I was in Kingston this summer. Got a Sonic drink there. on the way back from the Tracy Lawrence tour. Doc Holliday. Oh, he's talking to Laminga. I will let them talk. Washington Kiefer would be a good one to come as well. Yes, that would be a good one. I've not seen a game in Washington. I haven't seen a lot of games because of our Guthrie schedules in years past. So, I got it. Sorry, TikTok. Are we back on? Okay. We're back on. Let's see here. Again, if you're watching on TikTok, I've not been able to get to you because the comments are rocking and rolling on YouTube and Facebook, but I put the link at the very bottom and you guys can come over to Facebook. I apologize. I'm not, just so much moving on right now. A lot of people talking to each other, which is great. This is why it's, you guys keep talking to each other. Jay Ives, Chris, when are the classes and district finalized for the 26-28 years? So that the football season obviously will end on December 13th. I think they're meeting in January. Football was waiting. You have the ADM numbers, average daily membership, 9 through 12, your membership. And they wanted to wait until the numbers were official in October. Schools have to officially tell their attendance by October. I think it's 1st of October. And so the football coaches, rightfully so, wanted to make sure with all the numbers that they have the latest information that they have. And so I think they will be meeting in January. Grant Oliver would probably have a better answer or would have an answer, but I think they're meeting in January to come out with next year's district classifications and districts. Victor, can you do a 3A preview? Absolutely. We can take a look at Class 3A football. So Heritage Hall, no problems with Seminole, 52-34. Inola, I got an Inola note. Inola, what you guys win by? 38-20 over Shakota. Inola, first playoff game win at home since 1984. They went 41 years between home playoff victories. So congratulations to them. The Longhorns were 0-10 and outscored by 408 points back in 2022. Remember, Tallahena couldn't form a team in 2022? Well, I know it was 0-10, again, outscored by 408 points. They were 3-7 last year, and now they're, I think, 9-2. So I know the stadium was a happy place. Congratulations to them. I love those type of stories. Got to go to Heritage Hall this week, though, and that will be tough. But I know that won a playoff game. Whatever happens from here on out is a bonus at Heritage Hall. Lincoln Christian shuts out Jay 56-0. Jay snapped a 4-game winning streak back in week 10 just to get into the playoffs. They get shut out by Lincoln Christian. Kingfisher with a nice victory over Lone Grove. And I actually thought Lone Grove was going to win that game, but Kingfisher wins at 43-36. Kason Blair, a wide receiver for the Jackets, had 6 catches, 108 yards, and a touchdown. He added 2 rushing scores as well. So Kingfisher's first playoff victory since 2022. So a lot of firsts since 2022. Running back Brett Calamento, 20 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown. Kingfisher gets it done. Tough task, though. They got to go to Lincoln Christian, so that will be tough. Kingfisher got a pretty good stream. Lincoln Christian has a really good stream as well. So that game will be completely covered if you want to watch that game. Holland Hall gets by Berry Hill. That's one of the better games. That was the game in 3A on paper, and it proved to be on the field. Holland Hall wins 28-27. They are rewarded. They have to go to Sulphur. Have to go to Sulphur. Sulphur easily over Anadarko, 63-12. Sulphur, a really good team. A yard away from a state championship last year. And then the other side of that, Perkins over Plainview, 48-14. Not surprised there. Plainview without their quarterback. And Perkins has been really good all season long. And they will take on Cassia Hall, 42-7. That would be a good game as well. That might be top 10 worthy. Perkins on the road at Cassia Hall. Yeah, that's, I think Perkins has been in the top 5. Cassia Hall has been in the top 5 of 3A football. That might be a top 10 matchup. So Class 3A will be fun. It certainly feels like it's a Lincoln Christian Sulphur collision for the state championship game. Everyone looking to get the Marlowe quarterback situation confirmed. Chris Frost. Make sure minimize this one. I got 3 screens. I got 2 screens. Get these on comments. I got to turn the big TV on in front of me, so I'm about to have more light. But these are coming in way too fast. I gotta get this up here. So I'm gonna look up, get this bracket up here, so I can have all my screens. So it's moving fast. Okay. Chris, hey, where's the East-West dividing line in Oklahoma for a semifinal role? Or you mentioned OKC or east of there. So there's not a boundary line per se, Chris. So during the conference call, there was a matchup that sounded like Ada would be the perfect place. East Central hosts semifinal games almost every single year. And I'm trying to remember, there was a perfect matchup that would be in Ada, Oklahoma. The other thing to mention is if the OSSAA really likes, and they've done this for years, that have a day-night doubleheader. Like last year, one example at Claremore High School, the 6A1 semifinals, one was during the day, one was during the night, which allows us to go eat in between. But, East Central has had day-night doubleheaders. Western Heights has had day-night. These are for semifinal games. But there's really not a dividing line. So let's say here, I'm trying to think of a scenario here. But, this is not going to happen. But let's say Adair and Salina played, and they're way up there. They might go to Pryor and play. So there's really no dividing line. So I'm trying to come up with a good example. So if I don't like this on history, it's hard to look at it. I can't do it. I tried. Let's see. Tuttle and Broken Bow. Okay, so Tuttle and Broken Bow would play. That would obviously be down south somewhere. So it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be in the Oklahoma City metro or Tulsa area. And also, the school's going to be willing to host these playoff games as well. That's the other part of the factor. And more than likely, it has to be turf. I can't remember the last time a semifinal game was played on grass. So it has to be on turf. Doesn't have to be, but I think it's highly likely that it'll be there. Your pick for Pensacola and Fairview. Good question, Aaron. So if you're a Fairview fan, you want me to pick against you because I've done it all except for last week, of course. I picked against Hooker or Fairview a couple times, and they've won every time away from there. So Slider says, I think OCS will beat Metro Christian. That would be an upset, and I liked the OCS Saints. Tanner Roof grew up in a town. He was a little bitty guy when I was his brother Reagan, who's the Kingfisher football coach. Tanner was the little bitty guy growing up in Guthrie before moving away. So that would be a big win for OCS over Metro. Metro's been good this year. I think I have a Metro. Metro's King Kang Ing was 15 of 24 passing, 240 yards and 4 touchdowns. So that'd be a tough task for the OCS Saints. Nash, that's a great question or statement. I don't know how well Wynnewood matches up in A1, but it's been very exciting to see them. Davis and Sulphur making a good push for the playoffs again. Growing up there, all 3 of those teams were dogs. I meant to bring this up the other day on the high school huddle. Yeah, I don't know much about Wynnewood. They're perfect. They're 11-0 right now, and they beat Minko. Obviously, won the district championship with the victory over Minko. I really like Minko. I don't think Minko is going to win this week, but I really think that's the ultimate question. I don't know enough about Wynnewood either. Beat Sarah by 20 points. Not surprised by there. And they're hosting Pawhuska. Not knowing much about Wynnewood, maybe some Wynnewood folks out there can help us out. I really like Pawhuska. I like the coaching. I like the quarterback. I like the offense. So, but yeah, if there's anybody in Wynnewood, let us know. I really wish I probably need to look them up. All right, where's my notepad? I'm writing them down. Winnie Wood. Learn more about Winnie Wood. On the list. Grant Oliver, most viewed every Carl Albert fan had it pulled up in the stands after our game. I bet so. Grant, why is Carl Albert worried about Guthrie or Bishop McGinnis? That's a long ways down the road. Unless, maybe I know the other reason why. It's not for the game. Victor, what do you think of the career that White Atkinson right now is running the back for Perkins Trail Demons? So I love me some PT Deers. My good friend, superintendent over there, Doug Ogle, doing a fantastic job. Love me some Doug Ogle. Perkins, I got to tell you, Perkins did a good job of holding on to the football coach. I think he's a very sought-out commodity in high school football coaching. But, so I've been able to watch Perkins. Perkins continues to grow, right in the middle of Guthrie and Stillwater. And they've always been known for girls basketball, but that is slowly changing with their football program. Laminga, Del City Lot Mac will be fun. Rematch of Newcastle Pryor could be good too. That's what I keep hearing about Pryor Newcastle. Obviously, Newcastle has been on run. Newcastle has played the schedule of all schedules this year. I don't have it in front of me, but I think they played 11 teams. I think 8 of them have played in the playoffs, and they are really, really good. They are a big team as well. They lost their quarterback / linebacker from last year, but they really haven't skipped a beat this year. Hunter, let's see here. Hunter Shepard, Mr. Sassy. Bruh. Inside jokes. Chris, I can't believe you've never been to Reed Field. Nope, I have not. I don't get very many chances because of our Guthrie duties. Speaking of districts, if Newcastle or Bishop win this week, they will pass Guthrie in points. Guthrie in points. Grant, what do you mean Guthrie in points? Speaking of districts, if Newcastle or Bishop win this week, they will pass Guthrie in points. I don't know what that means. Help me out. Oh, which means Guthrie could be opposite of Carl Alberts. Help me out, Grant. Are we talking district alignment? What are we talking about here? I'm completely lost. Shannon. Sulphur's Electric, first time undefeated since 2004. Something tells me they won state football in 2004. And something also, if my 3, 2, 1. So Sulphur won the 2004 state championship, and they also, I think that same year, won the baseball state championship. So good company there for Sulphur. Is that right, Shannon? I think that's right. Productions. If Jones wins their game and Marlowe wins their game, who would win against the two? Jones and Marlowe. Man, I tell you, we gotta get that figured out with the Marlowe quarterback. That would go a long way. Oh, we're overtime in TikTok. Daggone it. TikTok, if you go over an hour on the live stream, you have to edit it down to 1 hour. So we'll keep it going. Oh, well, we'll keep it going. With that scenario there, I would have to favor Jones, just the way they throw the football. Ace and Hansen. I got Ace and Hansen numbers here. 3A football. 2A1 football, 2A1 football. I got Ace and Hansen somewhere. Ace and Hansen, 12 of 14, 264 yards and 5 touchdowns. Added a rushing touchdown as well. Carlos Hardiman, 4 catches, 136 yards and 3 touchdowns. I like Marlowe's physicality, but I like Jones's passing game. That would be a good one. We'll see if it happens. Productions. Okay, that's a good question. So, Noble was okay for semifinal games. So we went back to Noble. It's been a few years since we've been to Noble. And I got to tell you, the game day operations is awesome in Noble. The administration at Noble is awesome. We were there. We sat outside. Our broadcast sat outside. It was a comfortable night. And nothing but kudos to the people in Noble. They did a great job of hosting us. So I forgot about they had 5A semifinals in Noble as well. I remember Carl Albert Claremore, I think, was the 5A semifinal at Noble. Newcastle was a good location for semis. Okay. Never been to Newcastle for a game. I've been to Newcastle many, many times, especially for baseball. Especially the Little League baseball fields in Newcastle. Been there more times than I can even count. It seems like that would be a small place, especially for the bigger schools. I know the press box would not be comfortable. Nash, Noble, fantastic for 2A2 semis. Yeah, no, Noble, I'm telling you, Noble, they do it right. They know how to do it too. Junk, say it air, Stroud play. Where would we play? Let me, nothing's been final. Nothing's been announced yet. So, but I mean, I have a decent idea. I can't really talk, but Stroud, Adair. Oops. So Stroud, Adair. It would obviously be somewhere, I would think, in the Tulsa area. I would certainly think in the Tulsa area. Stroud. So Stroud baseball right off the highway. I don't know if I would like my baseball field or any fields off the highway. I think Shakota plays off the highway. Stroud definitely off the highway. I just think too much. But if Stroud and Adair were to play in the semis, that would definitely be. Broken Arrows hosted some playoff games before. Owaso's hosted some semi games. I tell you, another place that has hosted a lot of games in that area is Sapulpa. Sapulpa would be a candidate there if they want to. Sapulpa's still playing football. Facts, I was at the Noble Stroud game at Noble. Well, Noble and Stroud couldn't play each other. Maybe Noble played during, yeah. Maybe softball. Hunter, help me out. Hunter also, Hara was a decent side as well. Did Washington Metro Christian play there? I think that's right. Hara is Evans Field. Yeah. Let me answer your questions for you. Grant, talking about you accumulate points for district and playoff wins for district alignment. I can tell you, Grant, you very well know this. Guthrie and Carl Albert are hooked at the hip. And so I think Guthrie, Carl Albert, I can't remember last time they were separated. It's been over 2 decades, if that has been the case. It would have to be in the 90s since Carl Albert and Guthrie were not in the same district. Yeah, we need to make sure, McGinnis is going to stay up in 5A. McGinnis is 4A numbers, but up in 5A, which I certainly think they would. So, okay, yeah, that would be interesting to look at there as well. Moon's going with Lott MacArthur and Carl Albert. I think Grant Oliver would agree with you on that one, Moon. Chris Frost, I thought about this. We need the Brent Venables helicopter. We would need the Bob Mills weather desk helicopter to come out and help us. High School Huddle needs a helicopter ride this Friday night to watch as many games as they can for round 2. That was my mind. I'm going to be looking at games to see if we can catch this game in the first half and this game in the second half. That entered my mind. That's for sure. Yeah, Chris kind of confirms my thoughts. Noble has better stands than Newcastle. That's what I thought as well. Grant, speaking of Noble, my Noble source says he would take Mac over Carl Albert this year. So Grant says Mac, so that's MacArthur. McAllister would be MCA, if I'm hearing that correctly. If we're all on the same acronyms. Mac over Carl Albert. The thing with Lott MacArthur is the Lachlan kid has to run the ball. He has to run the ball. I know Mac loves to throw those D1 studs. He has to run the football. I think if they depend on the run instead of the deep passing, and I haven't watched them a whole lot, maybe they've eliminated that. I know years past it's been deep ball, deep ball, deep ball, deep ball. Got to get Lachlan running the ball. I think he went over 200 yards back in week 10 against Bishop McGuinness, which was a really good night. Obviously, Coach Manning has won 20 million more games than I have ever, and wouldn't even begin to how to run an offense. That's just me watching that. Run Lachlan. Doc, Tuttle and Broken Bow would be a great game. East-West scenario, it would be. I got a Broken Bow note. Graydon Howell, baseball stud. 318 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, 135 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Thing with Broken Bow, that was their first playoff victory since 2019. Chris confirms, the stands are small in Newcastle. I driven by them, never seen a game in there, but my broadcasting friend says it's not the best place to broadcast. But Newcastle, they've grown so fast. You know, they're still trying to keep up. I will say this, every time I drive by there, they're always constructing something new out front. So they got it going. They're probably taking care of their school academics, imagine that first before athletics. So that makes sense. Maybe they're building the buildings, and then we'll start working on their stadium. Once they start working on their stadium, something tells me it's going to be really, really nice. Okay, Hunter's helping us out. Let's say Stroud and Davis at Noble. Noble also has the big soccer tournament every Rose Creek tournament, I think it's what it's called. Doug, Davis Stroud in semis last year. Yep. Case between Tonkawa and Minko and Fairview and Picola. Okay, remember all the picks on Sunday night are unofficial. All the live picks on Wednesday night, those are official for me. But I like Tonkawa over Minko, and I like Fairview over Picola. Which the Picola Indians might like that because I picked Pawnee to win that game last week, and that was a great game as well. I don't think I mentioned Pawnee Picola. I think it was a 2-point game, right? 28-26. Look on here. I think that's. See if I got that to memory. Let's see here. Pawnee Picola, a 24-20. 24-20. And that's a good victory for Picola. I'm pretty sure that is Picola's best victory of the year. I'm going off of memory here. I'm about to pull it up here, but I think that might have been, well, let me say this before I start guessing what I'm talking about here. But for Picola, that was the one thing. It was like, man, they're good, but is their schedule going to allow them to be against these good teams? Get back up here. Picola now 9-2, Antlers, but lost to Vian, nothing wrong with that. Lost to Rejoice Christian, nothing wrong with that. So maybe their best win before Pawnee was Panama. So that's the one thing the reason why I picked Pawnee. Pawnee was tested. They had a tough schedule in that A1 football district with Tonkawa, Pahuska. Pawnee had also played Stroud. They had also played Hominy. They also played Morrison. So I thought their schedule would have them ready. But knowing Picola was good, I just thought Pawnee's schedule would have them ready for that game. And it was a great game. It was a pick'em game, 24-20. So Picola has their first what you would call marquee victory in that one. And if they can win this week with Fairview, that would be even bigger marquee. But Fairview loses their best quarterback in school history. 2 state championships. He was a stud, Bernard kid, the quarterback. And all they do is come back and win the district championship and beat Hobart last week 26-0. So that was a good win. But I like those picks there. Davis Stroud semis last year at Noble. Pryor, Adair, 10 miles apart. So, Pryor, Adair, is it Salina, Mays County? Those are all Mays County schools, right? If I remember right. Productions. I have Marlowe over Washington for state. That would be a rematch. 24. Was that the 2021 rematch? Marlowe, Washington. Marlowe won that game. So Washington has been in 3 straight. So this would be their 5th straight state championship that they would be in. I'm getting my years mixed up. Was it 2021? It was. All right. My memory's still working. 2021, Marlowe beat Washington for the state championship. Since then, 3 in a row. Junk, come to Mays County. Okay, so yeah. I think all 3 of them, we could probably get a couple of games up there. Jay Ives, Tuttle Broken Bow would be good to see at ECU and Ada. Yep, that would be a good one. How about that quarterback matchup? Cruz Campbell, Graydon Howell. Big time matchup. Big time matchup. I think we're going to get it. I don't know the location, but I think we're going to get that game. Moon. Max offense is dangerous. Dual threat at quarterback. 6'3" wide receivers. 2 great running backs. If Max defense plays how they did against Bishop McGinnis for the district championship, that was on the road at Bishop McGinnis on their senior night. They have a great chance to beat Carl Albert. Okay, agree everything. We're going to have to slow down on Carl Albert. We're going to have to slow down a little bit on Carl Albert because Lawton MacArthur has got to get past a very, very athletic Dell City team. And then they would have to get past, I think, McGinnis for the second time. You know, it's hard to beat a team, especially in football, 2 times in a matter of a month. So, Lawton Mac, I know there's a lot of excitement down there for the Highlanders, rightfully so. District champions. But, man, you got 2 tough tests before you can even get to the state championship game. Let's see here. Murray County, Friday night. Both Sulphur and Davis host. Could make both games. Ooh, that would be a good one. Marlowe. No, not Marlowe. Sulphur and what's my other? Davis. We would probably have to go to the Davis game first because they're going to run the football and that game's going to be over by 9 o'clock. So we would have to probably go to Davis first and then come back to Sulphur. And then we can maybe stay the night in Sulphur. They got a nice little place over there. Let's see here. Case. Is it all going to fit on there? Okay, good. So if we rematch Fairview again in the semis, you got us T-Town boys or Fairview. We were up 21-0 at one point. They scored a touchdown right before half, 21-7 before the final 27-21. I kind of remember that game. Well, A1's going to be so fun. It's going to be so fun. So, yeah, boy, I forgot about Fairview Tonkawa. When was that? September 12th? September 12th. Fairview's gotten better. I know that game was September 12th, and Tonkawa's playing really good football. But the thing about that, Fairview is playing much better football as of late. They've been tested with some really good teams in their district, and they passed all those tests. Cashin, A1 football, geez. Cashin, Hooker, Crescent in there too. But no, Fairview is playing really good football right now. Tonkawa's been steady. They've been a steady football team, and I really like Tonkawa. As their only game they've lost is to a Stroud. So, and they have won, they haven't lost since the Stroud game, since September 19th. Now, their schedule outside, their schedule hasn't been that tough. They beat Pawhuska by 24 points. So, that's a good victory. And, they beat Nowata 62-12. See Nowata in the news, guys? That's not good. Coach, athletic director arrested. We'll have that on Wednesday night. Not good. Ironheads. Okay, Chris Frost. Chris. How was the space at the new MacArthur football field, the Hill for Noble? I was wondering if the visitor stands were enough. I think they were playing Del City game there too. Is Lot MacArthur going to play Del City there? So Lawton MacArthur, as many know, play at Cameron Stadium. They played a couple of regular season games at MacArthur's. So Lawton, all the schools had played at Cameron, but they have their own fields now, which are nice, but there's not really stadiums. And MacArthur brought in a lot of stands last week for their playoff game against Noble. And they call it the Hill, but Del City should bring a pretty good crowd, man. Boy, I can see why MacArthur would want it. It would be a loud and jam-packed area where if it's at Cameron, it wouldn't be quite the atmosphere. Hold on, MacArthur guy might be snoring right now. I got to ask him if that game is at the Hill or not. Is this week's game at the Hill? He might respond at 5 o'clock in the morning before he answers at 10:35. It's at the Hill. Wow. So Lawton MacArthur is playing at the Hill. Hey, I understand it. That will be interesting. You better get your tickets early. You better get your seat there early too. There's not a lot of places there. Wow. So that'd be their fourth game they would play there this year. Wow. Thank you. Kelly knows A1 football. Miko will lose to Tonkawa. We struggle against the run all year, but that is Tonkawa's strength. Fairview's going to have their hands full this week, so not a guarantee they play either of those teams. Yeah, no. And I think everybody knows this. We're all just talking, which is great. The great thing about that. Fairview, Pecola, Tonkawa, Minko, Wynnewood, Pawhuska, Rejoice, Hooker. Those are your final 8 teams. They've all had tremendous seasons all season long. Wynnewood's undefeated. Rejoice Christian, their only loss came from a couple classes up in Cassia Hall, and that was a 21-14 ball game. Rejoice Christian, by the way, and Hooker play this week in Tulsa. That's a rematch of last year's state championship game. So there you go. I mean, that's one example of how good these games are in A and 5A. They're all good in all the classes, but 5A and A stick out. But Rejoice Christian, Compton Nero, 8 of 11, 190 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's a 4-star sophomore quarterback. He also ran the ball 12 times for an average of 7 yards, 84 total yards. And Okafuwizi, the wide receiver DB that's headed to OU, he had 5 catches, 107 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Salina is at Davis. You can catch Claremore. McGinnis, 20 miles west of Mays County. Well, that's a good one, too. What we got here? Claremore, McGinnis. So Grant can meet us somewhere, and we can all ride together. Claremore, McGinnis. Salina, Davis. Ooh, that would be good. Salina, Davis. Oh, Salina's at Davis. Okay. Kind of going back to Washington Marlowe. Washington beat Marlowe last year. Also, Washington beat Marlowe this year by a score, I believe. Oh, asking about, okay, Chris, I'm sorry. Asking Noble fans went to MacArthur Stadium, new stadium. Yeah, Grant and I have a friend in Noble, Oklahoma that would be able to ask that. That'd be a good one there. Let me ask. Noble at the Hill. I won't bother him. He's getting his beauty sleep, I'm sure, by now. He's got a big school day tomorrow. Productions, I appreciate it so well first round. So I went 7-3 last week. Grant says, you go down to Davis. I'll meet you at the Artesian after the games. Grant, I will tell you this. If you've never seen Phil Nichols inside a casino, it's a sight, man. It is a sight. He goes after it, and I just sit there and go, what are you doing? Wow. Are you, what? How many? Oh, is that, okay, that's max. It's quite the scene. I've seen too many of those times. In fact, sometimes we get free dinners out of it. Usually, last couple of times we got free dinners because of Phil's ambitious ways inside those type of places. Grant confirms playing at the Hill for Lot MacArthur. Exchange, start at Adair, go to Pryor, and finish in Claremore. So that's the best. I think that is by far the best, because I want to see Adair before they get to UCO. I think so. I think they're going to get there. I want to see Pryor in person, and then you see McGinnis. That would be the way to do it. The travel is the only thing. That's the only thing I'll have to get with Phil and Ronnie. We'll see how eager they are. Dason, how are you doing, buddy? Watching on Facebook. Hope everything is going well. Grant, no, it's a real thing. Come hungry, you might eat free. Grant said, Noble said new stadium was just fine, no issues, which shocked me. Yeah, that would shock me too. Yeah, that would. I'm sure it's a advantage, and it's cool to be at your own stadium. That would not be fun to be going over to Cameron. Now Cameron, the thing with Cameron is it holds way more people. But I understand MacArthur wanting to do that as well. Home field advantage. Cassandra Lynn, is Davis going back to back? So talked about that a little bit earlier. I picked Davis to win the state championship at the beginning of the season. Vian could put a little wrench in that. Vian Davis is a state championship game. That's going to be a semifinal game. Vian's very capable with Mason Wright at quarterback. I honestly think it's Adair, Davis, or Vian. I think those are the three teams that can win it all. I've liked Stroud. I've had Stroud ranked high all season long. And they will give Adair a good test, assuming they get past Holdenville. But I think that those are the three teams. Productions. I go to Cameron for college, but the one in Duncan. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know Cameron was in Duncan. I go to Duncan every other month, it feels like. I did not know that. So the one thing in Duncan, you got to know how to navigate the roads, because if you want to go get a tea, I feel like I had to drive through a bank, a grocery store, and a hardware store to get to the tea place because of the way the roads are. I had to ask my friend Grant, I go, am I an idiot? But I can't ever find my way through Duncan unless we're coming into town. You can get your tea on the way to the stadium. But if you leave the stadium to go get a tea to get back, it's a mess. Lynn thinks Dibble can upset Vian. Well, Dibble did beat Davis in overtime, lost to Holdenville though, but it's definitely possible. It'd be tough. Grant Oliver, always good to hear from you. Out though, got to teach some geometry tomorrow. Oh my gosh, geometry! I can do all the all the fractions, all the what's your basic math class? Is that your sophomore year? Not geometry. I took my junior year. I was like, what? Why are we doing but shapes? Threw it all off. Oh, Lee. What's the common math class? Dadgummit, I'm an idiot. Algebra. Good grief. I can do some pretty good algebra. Move the x to the other side, and the x. I can do all that. Thank you, Kella. When you start throwing in shapes and graphs, I'm like, oh, no thanks. Chris Frost. Mac Visitor Stand was just put in the season, 750 seats. I did see their parking plan. It looked well sorted out. Also, the new concession and restroom looks nice. And also on top of that, so you talk about the Max Visitor Stand. I think they also brought in some portable stands as well. Is that what you're talking about in addition to that? Granted, U-turn capital of the world. Absolutely. Okay, it's not just me. I feel good about that. Nash. Dibble will be a good measuring stick as on how Vian will match up with Davis, but Davis has to get past Salina, which is having one of their best seasons in 13 years. Yep, and that's because of Coach Harmon. He's won 2 state championships at 2 other schools, small schools. He's tried the big school. He was at Ponca City, and that's just a tough place to coach in Ponca City, but he has won at 2 other small places. Had a good college career as well. Good coach. Case. Predict the quarterfinals for A1. Think it's the hardest to pick, maybe besides 5A or 2A1. Again, everything's unofficial until Wednesday, but I got Fairview beating Pacola. I got Tonkawa beating Minko. I feel a little bit better about that now with some of the information I'm learning tonight. I like Pahuska beating Wynnewood, and I like Rejoice Christian beating Hooker. Long trip back for Hooker. So I got Fairview, I got Tonkawa, I got Pahuska, and I got Rejoice Christian. Unofficial, I need more time to think about it, all the way to Wednesday night. Live show, 6 o'clock, High School Huddle. QXSTYZMAC, alphabet person. McAllister winning state. Well, I don't know if you're just tuning in, but McAllister's the hot, I would say, I don't know if you can say the hottest, but they are near, if they're not the hottest, I need to find out who they are. But 7 in a row after starting 0-4. No one can beat McAllister. Well, Carl Albert can beat McAllister. Carl Albert has won 50 football games in a row. McAllister's on the road. I've seen crazier things. It's a rematch of, I think that was a state championship game 10, 11 years ago. That will be a fun game, but there's a team called McAllister. It's pretty darn good. Productions, learning how to be a teacher and a coach. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, portable bleachers on both sides. Yeah, that's talking to my MacArthur friend. Said that was the situation there. Oh, 2022. Thank you, Hunter. 2022, Carl Albert and McAllister. Loved my time at McAllister. We were there a few years ago at the Hook, and they loved their football. They had a great crowd there. Of course, that was during the Forrest Mazie, Eric McCarty era. That was some fun times in McAllister, Oklahoma. Love the town of McAllister. Outside of football, I was also there for baseball. Back in my old days, I was a high school and college baseball umpire, and we always had the Junior Sun Belt at McAllister. Also, they played those games at Wilburton and also Eastern College. Those were fun times. All right. Comments are slowing down. TikTok. Let's look at TikTok here. I haven't looked over here in a while. Hope everything's going good over here. Jackson, are you surprised Brandon Ward only had 1 offer? Emporia and Big Mac has none. Oh man. So Jackson, you get into these colleges things. I've seen players that I thought would start for OU as a freshman, and they don't get offered by these big schools. And I've seen kids that get offered by OU, and I'm like, what is going on? I'm by far no great recruiting coordinator. And so I've been saying that for a long time. I don't understand recruiting, but I can tell you this: Emporia. There are some great kids that have gone from Oklahoma to Emporia. Emporia, for a lot of folks who don't, that's kind of like the UCO of Oklahoma, Division II, but they play Stingham. They play really good football at Emporia. The Gundy kid from Stillwater High School played it for his dad at OSU, ended up at Emporia. So if Braden Ward goes to Emporia, that's a fun place to play football. So a lot of people can't go to Division I, and that's the one thing you can't. We want all of our Oklahoma guys to go to OU and all these big schools, but just because you can't go to Division I doesn't mean you can't have a good career at these smaller schools, D2. In fact, it's always a question that I always share with people, especially Phil and Ronnie. Would you rather be a player for OU that doesn't get to play at all, but you get to go to Alabama, you get to go to Tennessee, you might get to play in a playoff game, or be in a playoff game, but you don't ever get to play. You just you just sit there on the bench. Or would you rather go to Emporia and play every single, or UCO or East Central or OBU, it doesn't matter, or go to those schools and play every single week? Maybe you're the player of the week. Maybe you go to the playoffs and you play every single down. Which one? Both have their perks. Don't get me wrong. You don't ever get to play over here, but you get to go see some pretty cool things, and you get to eat pretty good, and you have a pretty nice room to live in. Where you go to other places, you might not have the glamours, but man, you're getting to play every single play and just have a good time with it. So that's a good question. But if you can go to school and get some of it paid for, that's what it's all about. Isaiah on TikTok, you got Vian or Dibble? I got Vian. Mason Wright, I think he's the real deal. I really, really like Mason Wright in them. Tallahassee winning state this year. I picked them at the beginning of the year. I'm not backing down now. They're a perfect 11-0. They got a great quarterback. They got 3 great wide receivers. Coach Kravitz is big time. I don't know who runs the Tallahassee Facebook or TikTok, but I watch it all the time. B. Durton, something, I can't remember what it is. But I love it. I watch every single one of Coach Kravitz's speeches. I love it. Thoughts on McAllister beating Collinsville? Kaysen asking, we talked about that one. Double overtime. Was it Collinsville goes for 2? I think McAllister holds it. Is that right? Have my games correct? I think that's right. Yeah. Bo Daniel scores on a 1-yard touchdown to overtime. They go for 2. Yeah. So McAllister's won a couple of games, walk-off wins. So that's awesome for them. What do you think of Stroud versus Wyandotte this week? Great. Both teams are very good this year, Aiden. Stroud and Wyandotte. Tigers versus Bears. Oh, my. But if I had to pick it on Sunday night, nothing's official till Wednesday on the High School Huddle, I like Stroud. With that being said, though, I did pick Wyandotte no, I didn't. We didn't pick that game. Never mind. Did not pick that game. Thoughts on Davis winning back-to-back? Talked a lot about Davis. A lot of Davis love on here. Davis Wolves getting a lot of action tonight. That's awesome. Beginning of the year, I picked Davis to go back-to-back, but man, of course, Davis last year, I picked them to win, they would lose. I picked them to lose, they would win. So, but I don't know what it is. Something tells me Vian and Adair. I don't know what it is. We'll see. Nothing official till Wednesday. Davis or Salina? I like Davis. To get past Salina, but I think this game's closer than what many people are thinking. I really like Salina, Coach Harmon. We've talked about him a lot this year. What a fun district that district was this year, as expected. But I like Davis in that game. Thoughts on Weatherford? Noah asking thoughts on Weatherford. Well, so you got to start with, we didn't think Weatherford would be hosting a first-round playoff game, but here they are hosting a first-round playoff game last week. They get the victory over Blanchard, 28-7, very convincing win as well. That's the good news. The bad news, you got to go to Broken Bow. It's a long trip to begin with. How far is Weatherford to Broken Bow? Let's look that up. Weatherford to Broken Bow. Why would they put Weatherford, Oklahoma? I don't care about Weatherford. My sister-in-law is from Weatherford, Texas, so I better be careful. Weatherford, okay. To Broken Bow, okay. 4 hours and 33 minutes. So Weatherford is going to go through Oklahoma City, hit Henrietta, and head south. Go through McAllister, go through Antlers, and make their way to Broken Bow. 4 hours and 33 minutes. Holy smokes. That is a long time. So you play at 7. I don't think Weatherford's going to school on Friday. That is a long, long ways. Yikes. But with that being said, I like Weatherford. I like Weatherford in that game. Sorry. 3, 2, 1. I like Broken Bow in that game. I really like Broken Bow in that game. J2, who you got winning 5A state? Beginning of the year, I picked Carl Albert. And until proven otherwise, I'm picking Carl Albert to win every single game. Until proven otherwise. I don't know why you, I mean, unless you go to that school, you root for that school, your kid plays for that other school that Carl Albert's playing, it's Carl Albert. Scary, I've said this before, this is the year to beat Carl Albert because they got a good part of their team coming back, and they got some young studs coming up. So they're good this year. They've won every single game. If you were to beat them, this is your year because they're going to get better next year. J2 asking about the Guthrie McGinnis feedback. I hope you guys heard me talk about that one earlier. I think you did. I don't think not too many comments on there. What did you think about Minko and Cashin? I thought Minko was going to be able to win that game. Wardlaw, I think, and they did 24-14. Cashin's year's next year. Cashin's year's next year. Doc Holliday. Tuttle, if they went to 5A this year, could beat Carl Albert. Elgin this year and last year could give Carl Albert a run. I would agree. I would absolutely agree. Nash, college recruiting has always been wild, but it's even crazy now that, you just don't, and it's even tougher for high school kids now because a lot of these Division I schools are taking transfers from other Division I schools. And so, but the other side about that is, I think it was OU and Alabama's punters were both Division II kids last year. So, I mean, UCO's punter is now OU's punter. That's one good thing about the transfer deal is you can move up quick. Nash, well said. So many dogs in the NFL come from D2 schools. Absolutely. I forget the guy's name, but he played at Langston University as a wide receiver, and he made it to the pros. So, absolutely. Pitt State, another good example. We were talking about college recruiting. Pitt State, like oh my gosh, Pitt State. I am not thinking straight tonight. Pitt State, their mascot, help me out. Pitt State. Oh my gosh, how can you forget? Red, yellow. I'm drawing a complete Pitt State. It's a clever name too. Gorillas. Yes, daggone it. Gorillas. Doc Holliday kind of agrees with me. Vian, Wayne State, they're tough. They are tough. Saw some highlights this week too. Hunter Shepard says hard to beat against the Wolves. Talking about Davis. They're on a mission. I agree. And I agree with Junk. I said it all season long. Salina can put up points. That's the one thing I said about it. Don't want to get a shootout. You don't want to get a shootout with Salina. It's interesting because Salina wants to get up and down the field, throwing the football, and Davis obviously with the flex bone. So two very different styles. That's what makes that very, very interesting. Okay, it is confirmed. Again, two sources you can go with. The game is at the Hill. My MacArthur guy is up late tonight. Doc, at least Weatherford gets some scenery. Yes, Southeast Oklahoma, beautiful. If their leaves are still, the leaves here in town are kind of, they're there, but they're not as pretty as they were. So hopefully it's still pretty dry for them. Nash, boy, a lot of Davis talk tonight. I'm loving some Davis talk. Talking about the path is not easy. Nope. Last week was easy with Cassidy, 49-0, but Salina, Vian, Adair, wow. Their penalties have been better each week. Okay. Chris Frost. Whoa, Chris, that Weatherford pick had me thinking you were losing. Yeah, no, I mental brain. I even my brain said, whoa, wait a minute, what? An issue for them is they can't clean up. They can make a good push. Production, do you do other sports? Are you talking about like this? So years past, as far as the high school huddle, we have done football and then we have stopped and This year, though, we are looking to add basketball and wrestling to the high school huddle. Still working out some things on when that would be, how that would be, and all that. But the plan is to move forward, continue with the high school huddle past football season and continue that as long as we can in the athletic season. So yes, I can tell you, I say this the right way. So we have all the state championship productions, and I get the honor of having people come in and broadcast those games, and we get to do all the production for that. And I do a big part of that for all the sports in Oklahoma. And so for the NFHS network, and it's been really, really cool because doing all the state championship production stuff, I've gotten to see swimming. I never thought swimming is fun, guys. It's fun. Regionals and state are always fun. They're always held at either Jinx, Oklahoma, Jinx High School, or in Edmond. Those athletes are so awesome. They're so good. Volleyball, we've done many volleyball state championship productions. Though that's a great sport. I've always been baseball. We've done tons of baseball in the past. And every year in charge of the basketball state tournament production. And so that is 2 weeks of my life. It's the longest 2 weeks. The first game is at 9 a.m. So after, I have to get there by 8:30, assuming all the equipment is set up and ready to go, which it always is. And so the first game's at 9, 10:30. There's 8 games a day. And that happens Monday through Saturday. It's Sunday off to do graphics works. And then back on Monday through Saturday for second week of state championship games. And so we're there for that. So, but yes, long story short, we plan on moving forward with the high school huddle into the winter sports. It's going to be cool. And guys, I got to tell you, the wrestling show that we're working on is going to be big time. The people that we'll have on there as hopefully every day is going to be big time. I cannot wait. I think the wrestling show is going to take off. I really do. Thanks for that question. So yes, hope to continue that. Gorillas, thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Junk. Moon. Do you have a prediction for MacArthur versus Dell City? If so, who do you have winning? Man, this is I have not looked at the top 10 games or made out a list for top 10 for Wednesday night show. I certainly think this one's going to be up there. Dell City. A lot of people had Booker T. Washington, and Michael Washington, the running back, is really, really good. But Caleb Blackwolf and Dell City beat Booker T. earlier this year pretty handily. I knew it was not going to be as easy, but Rickland Holmes, I know Dell City's got a couple quarterbacks that are going. I think they had some offensive line issues. But Dell City is so athletic, so athletic. So Dell City, Lott MacArthur, I can see both teams winning. Both teams, man, I'm going to go back and forth. My mind, everyone tells me Lott MacArthur. But, man, something tells me Dell City might get it done. I hate to do this, but I'm going to have to wait till Wednesday. People tell me Lott MacArthur. I think Dell City. That's my mindset. I think Black Wolf and Rickland Holmes for Dell City is the 1-2 punch. And then you got the quarterback, Sincere Overton. I think Simpson has played well as well. I'm thinking right now I'm leaning toward Dell City. I can be convinced the other way. I think I can be convinced. I still don't know. I still don't know right now. If I had to say it right now, Sunday night, I'm going Dell City. But that will change. I'll change Monday. I'll change Tuesday. And then I guarantee you on Wednesday, it's my turn to pick. And it's going to be Dell City, Lawton Mac. And I'm going to go, oh my gosh. My heart tells me this. My brain tells me this. And then I'll make some wacky pick. I can already tell. I need you guys to convince me other ways. Brittany, will Inola versus Heritage Hall be a close game, you think? No. But with that being said, I don't know if you missed this earlier, Brittany, but Inola won their first home playoff game since 1984. So they won that home playoff game in 1984. It took them 41 years to win another one. And they were 0-10 in 2022. They were 3-7 last year, and look at them this year. Even if they lose to Heritage Hall, which I think a lot of people are going to pick Heritage Hall to beat Inola. It's going to happen. I'm going to pick Heritage Hall to beat Inola. But man, if that happens, don't let that take away from this year. Inola Stadium has seen some great football this year. Be grateful for that coach and those players this year for turning that program around. They deserve a lot of praise. Now, if they beat Heritage Hall, you're going to have headlines all over the state of Oklahoma. I will be breaking in every day of the week talking about how I know they'll beat Heritage Hall. I just think Heritage Hall, on paper, and I think they'll win that game as well. So we'll see. But again, great job, Inola, regardless. Sometimes the small, these comments on here. Okay, good. Sometimes the small schools don't get enough love. It's nice to see people talk about 3A and lower. Yeah, absolutely. And we haven't talked a whole lot of 8-man football this year in Class B1, B2, and Class C. But if anyone has ever asked, we definitely talk those schools as well. It's just the one thing, and maybe it's better now that the classes are divided. The only thing that's been frustrating with 8-man football is you can get semifinal games that are 56-14. And there's not any close games until the championship game some years. With that being said, there are some great 8-man football out there. And we have a long show to begin with. But if anyone ever wants to talk about those 8-man football, love to talk about it. But yeah, I grew up, I live in Guthrie. I grew up all 5A. That's what I know the best. I love 5A. I've been to all the stadiums, know all the schools in and out. Obviously, 6A football is easy to learn from, and they're more out there to see them. But man, in basketball, I had been around 5A, 6A all my life and do productions, all that. And then they moved me to the big house to cover more games for production purposes. And I got to tell you, I love it. I've learned so much over the years in small school basketball from, small schools, La Kiva Sickles and La Mega, small schools all the way up to Beggs. And so it's been doing that. A lot of the games in the big house, I've learned a lot about the smaller schools. Again, growing up, it was all 5A. I can care less about Wawoka and Texhoma and Thomas A. Custer and Adair. It wasn't, but over the last 10 years, I've really enjoyed my time covering small schools. And it's amazing. You see these people come out and it's the support. I'm a big school guy. The players come and go and they're great to cover. But man, when Davis wins, I remember players and I'll forget them, but I will remember Davis. I love Towns. That's what, that's what I draw to when Pawnee wins basketball. That I just have a lot of excitement for Pawnee and the people who live in Pawnee. That's where I get excited, is for the hometowns. And so, Guthrie was horrible in football. And then they won state championships in 2002. And I saw how each week gets so exciting, especially when you've never won a state championship. And so you see these schools who have never won state titles. I know what they're going through. And so it's cool. I love the towns, and I'm an Oklahoma guy, and I love going to Inola, and I see the Longhorns sweatshirt in Walmart, and we start, someone's wearing a Longhorn Inola shirt in Oklahoma City, and I love talking about people's towns. That's the best thing, and people take pride in their towns. I love it. Chris Frost talking about the high school huddle, the high school dugout, and the high school mat. Yeah, so that's part of the process that we're talking about. The high school huddle works for all sports, and that's came up with that several years ago. We thought it would cover I thought it would cover all the sports, and it will. So do you have the high school huddle on wrestling on Monday nights, and then the high school huddle basketball on Wednesday? That's the type of things that we're working on. Do you keep it called the high school huddle? Keep it uniform, because it's not the high school huddle for football. It's not the high school huddle football. It's not high school huddle wrestling. So that's the kind of things that trying to figure out what's going on there. Nash, Hunter. That's for Hunter. Everyone's asking Hunter questions. Love it. Nash says, 8-man, you kind of know what you get, but it's going to be a show. Absolutely. Absolutely. Bring your lawn chairs. That's another good thing about small school. Bring your lawn chairs. It's going to be fun. Doc says, I'm going Dell City on that game. Tired of living in the neighbor's Carl Albert shadow. Yeah, boy. Dell City's been close last couple of years. They made it to, help me out, made it to the state semifinals last year, made it to the state championship the year before. And yeah, definitely in the shadows, not even the best team within miles of in your town. Midwest City's there as well. Of course, they struggled this year, but yeah, I bet that is, I'm from Guthrie, so I understand the Carl Albert thing. By the way, I have tons of Carl Albert friends, tons. Talk to Carl Albert people more than I probably talk to Guthrie people. Love my Carl Albert friends. Alphabet person, who do you have winning 5A state in football? I picked Carl Albert, and until proven otherwise, I'm picking Carl Albert. If I could not pick Carl Albert, it had to be somebody else, I would go with Pryor. Although I have people that watch a lot of 5A football tell me Pryor will have a tough challenge with Newcastle. I do know this. I don't think Pryor's ever been to a state championship game. I don't know if they've been to the state semifinal game. Pryor Newcastle is a rematch of last year's quarterfinal game. That game was in Newcastle. This year is in Pryor, and I think it was a 37-36 ball game. Is that right? Pryor. I got notes somewhere on that. Braden Ward. 38-37. My bad. I was a point off. Wilson Henrietta is a fun school to watch, being small and basketball. Yeah, Doc, that's right. So a couple years ago, of course, they had the brothers, all three brothers. Of course, last year was a media circus with the ankle bracelets. But so it threw me off a little bit when I saw the bracket with Wilson, of course, Class B state champions 2 years ago. But there's a Wilson, Oklahoma, which I think is in Carter County, down by Ardmore. Or Ringling, closer to Ringling probably. So it's probably not. It's probably not Carter County. And being a weirdo, I have to figure that out right now. Wilson, Oklahoma. Carter County. Okay. Amazing what my brain remembers and doesn't remember. But anyway, Wilson Henrietta. Wilson Henrietta. I know Wilson, but obviously Wilson Henrietta just near Henrietta. Nash. Every town has that one good Mexican restaurant or barbecue spot. Funny you should say that. We went to Lawton, Oklahoma for week 10. Left early. Had a pretty good barbecue spot in Lawton, Oklahoma. Maybe start a show with the best game day dinners, dine-ins, and dives. Yeah. A lot of people rip on me for my eating ways. I go to a Mexican restaurant and I'm getting tacos, beef and cheese only. I might get a beef and cheese enchilada, but no lettuce, no tomatoes. So my friends call me out on my eating. So Chris Ross, earlier you said 1 hour show. It's past 2 hours long now. Playoff time except I know it, and it doesn't. I looked at that. It's just literally 35 seconds ago, and it's. The TikTok's been on for 2 hours and 5 minutes. And the questions haven't stopped. This is so awesome. And I got a lot of notes here, but I'm learning so a lot. Writing down notes. I had no idea about the close game between Ada and Fort Gibson. Questions about the Marlowe quarterback. I got to figure out why Wynnewood is 11-0 this year. Do they have a shot this week? With Pahuska coming to town. We figured out that McAllister is playing on the Hill. Got to figure out where we're going to watch football game on Friday. A lot of good options out there. Thank you, Hunter Shepard. Confirms everything. Pryor has never been to a state championship. 0-1 in state semifinals. That a boy, Hunter. Thank you. See? Learn something all the time. Even at this late hour. Hunter Shepard. Got to hang out with Hunter many times this year. He's been in my house. Hunter Shepard has been in my house. That is what you call a good football season. And something tells me Hunter and I will be hanging out a whole bunch here a couple of weeks at UCO. Don't take up all the battery charging space, though, Hunter. Doc, Pryor takes Newcastle this year and Pryor goes to state. That's my thought process right now. Although I have some people trying to talk me into Newcastle, which 1-point game last year, Guthrie beat Newcastle in the semifinals last year in a really, really good ball game. So it's not a gimme for Pryor by any means. And then, oh, by the way, if Pryor and Newcastle win, they had likely on paper would have to play Carl Albert. I got some McAllister friends in here say, McAllister's winning 8 games in a row and stop Carl Albert's 50-game winning streak. Be tough. I do know this. Somebody's going to beat Carl Albert sometime. Sometime it's going to happen. So Carl Albert's 150. Remember, the state record is 58 games in a row. Bixby did that a couple of years ago. Jinx beat them on ESPN, ESPN2 probably, or maybe ESPNU. It was on ESPN. Had to bring in extra lighting for the TV cameras. I wish my cameras were that fancy that you have to have more lighting for them. Jordan. Good to see Jordan. Covering it up. Davis fan here. Man, Davis. They're everywhere tonight. All the fans are here tonight. Love it. Thanks for love and all you do for those one-stop light towns. What are your thoughts on Davis Wolves? Red November is napping down here in the shady 580. You know, it's fun. Ooh, about to spill my drink here. Watered down Sprite. I thought, well, it'll last me an hour, but now it's 2 hours. Shady 580. One of the pastors that live in Guthrie, not going to say who, but brought up the Shady 580. And he lived there for a while. That's just what everyone calls it. I knew the name, but that's like 3 times in a week and a half I've heard Shady 580. That's funny. But no, we've been talking a lot about Davis tonight, and rightfully so, going for back-to-back state championships. And I really think Salina throws the ball all over the place. Davis, I will say this, Salina throws the ball all over the place, but if Davis is running the flex bone and running the ball like they have and have done over the decades, you can't throw the ball over the place if you're sitting on the sideline for Salina. So, but I think if Davis gets past Salina, the true test for Davis is Vian. True test would be Vian. I think there's 3 teams that can win it in 2A2 football. Davis, Vian, and Adair. Nash Hunter is great company. So, yeah, Hunter knocked on my door at 7:50 in the morning, and we hung out, and we've done it twice now. We've hung out twice in Guthrie, Oklahoma. It was cool. Got to show him all the town. Told him all about the gossip in town. Davis football in November and December is just different. You can feel it in the air. The weeks drag, but man, there are the best memories. Absolutely, man. I've grown up in Guthrie. I've only got a taste of it. We were horrible in the 80s and 90s and 70s, probably the 60s and the 50s. But Guthrie's been in the playoffs 23 of the last 25 years, 4 state championships. It's not as many as others, but it's more than most. But man, it's so special in your town to win those state championships. You always remember them. I mean, I can remember the players, the the stadiums that they played in, the playoff routes. It's quite the feeling. Now, Davis has a little bit more history in the playoffs, but man, it is such a cool feeling. And I got to be honest with you, I always root for, like Adair. When they won state in 2015. So it's been a while for them. That was just the first one on my mind. Fairland, how about that? Fairland beats Woodland last week to host the first round playoff game. Then they beat Wowoka 34-6. And Fairland basketball made the state tournament last year. You think there's some excitement in Fairland? I get excited about Fairland. And I got to see them in basketball and some football. How about this? One of the great receivers in Guthrie, his son plays at Fairland. And so it's just awesome. Grove, I mean, they've had a great run of years. So, but it's always those towns you kind of like, man, I hope they can pull through and win the games because you don't know if they'll be good again. Valiant. When's the last time Valiant was any good? They lost 2 in a row and they're out of the playoffs, but it's fun rooting for those teams. Shady 580. Okay, that's how you pronounce it. My bad. Shady 580. It's so weird. Shady 580. So I go to the Duncan baseball tournament every year, and we stayed at Medicine Park. One time we stayed Medicine Park. We stayed in Airbnb outside of Duncan, and I'm a McAllister's fan. I love the sweet tea and the choose to, and so I find myself going to Lawton. I don't know if I call it Shady 580. I go to Lawton. I'll be nice on the show here, but I go there quite a bit. Productions. When can I come over? I tell you, Hunter gets he got breakfast, he got dinner, he got lunch. It was all I rolled out the blue carpet for Hunter. Drove him back to Oklahoma City twice. Said, Hunter, I love you, but I can't take you all the way to your house down south. Can't do it, buddy. Sulphur, Washington was a heck of a game. Absolutely, Shannon. And, so Washington, 3-4, they've been in the state championship game 4 years in a row. They've won the last 3 in a row. And Sulphur beat Washington in their 45-game winning streak earlier this year. And really, I don't think a lot of people are talking. Washington, as weird as it is, aren't really talking about them. And they got studs, man. That Creed Barrett, he won a state championship as a freshman at quarterback. And he's going to be the next big-time quarterback to get all the Division I offers as well. So, man, I don't think a lot of people are talking about Washington just because they're not ranked number 1. Some people have them ranked number 1. Some people have Jones. Some have Metro. But much like Carl Albert and much like Bixby, until someone beats Washington, it's Washington's until proven otherwise. I think they'll be okay this week with Kiefer coming to town. And then I think they might have the big one with Metro Christian. I still like Washington getting to the state championship game. And then you're looking at the other side. Marlowe's got questions now at quarterback. But I think Jones, if Marlowe has questions at quarterback, although Morgan, if Morgan's running the show for Marlowe, he can get it done there. So, but Jones' path got a little bit easier. And I don't know what percentage it is, but obviously not having your quarterback at Marlowe would be a big deal. It was a heck of a game, though. HTO in Lawton now? Yes. We were there. So when we were in the Duncan, we went over to Lawton. And, Lawton does not have a McAllister's. So we got HTO during happy hour. And I'm boring. So I go in HTO. I'm very boring. My wife gets all these. There's 85 different teas and it's always, Chris, you reminded me, those Yeti coolers, those things are, I guess they're nice, but man, it's like buying a car, buying a Yeti in an HTO. But anyway, I'm a sweet tea guy, and so I'm very boring when I go HTO. Got to go during happy hour. But yeah. Hunter, I was up there for the Blanchard and Altus game. Was at the Tuttle game, but that was at Tuttle. Yep. And Hunter, I forgot Hunter, all the things that he got. Also got a Guthrie baseball jersey. Now, he didn't wear it during the state softball tournament because he was working with his other schools, Newcastle and Washington. Like, Hunter, Washington's going to be there on Saturday guaranteed. And they were. At least you wear your Guthrie for a few minutes. Let me take a picture of you with it on there. But Hunter's a little sassy at times, so I understand. Barrett threw for like 3,300 yards as a freshman, which is great. But the way he performed in the state championship game was, wow. Okay, I forgot. So I was right with Newcastle, Washington. I forgot about Blanchard and Lindsay. And you forgot Guthrie too, Hunter. Don't forget Guthrie. Oh, Hunter Shepard. All right, Jordan. Adair beat us by 1 in the 2015 quarterfinals. It was the first time, 2012, 34-33. 13. Nice little history there. 5 games set by a combined 9 points. So production says, I know someone who said Hudson Morgan is way better than Brendan Weber at quarterback. Well, Hudson Morgan's going to do good no matter what he does. He can play horseshoes. He's going to be good. Multi-sport stud. So I just think it eliminates, obviously, if Weber's not at quarterback, it limits the team a little bit. But I can tell you this firsthand. I saw it firsthand. Bishop McGinnis lost their quarterback, and they brought in the running back to run the quarterback, and they didn't. They might have been better without. I don't want to say this, but I guess I'm going to say it. But I thought Bishop McGinnis was better. I didn't see McGinnis. I watched him play Duncan, so this what I'm about to say is not going to be fair, and I don't know. But the Bishop McGinnis running back that had to play quarterback was good, and if the quarterback was better than him, then that's not good for 5A football. I'm just telling you, sometimes that. The other side of that, though, Plainview lost their quarterback. Norman lost their quarterback. They had to move the wide receivers to there, and they were one and done in the playoffs. So, but I don't think they're Hudson Morgan either. Chris Frost, 2019 Cash Road McAllister's. Yes, that one. And I can tell you, so I love sweet tea. So I live in Guthrie. My home base, McAllister's. I got the app here too. I do the T-Pass. The next thing is pickles. In fact, when I walked into McAllister's on Friday, they said, hey, today's national. Hey, Chris. They know me. Jordan is the manager, does a great job there. Hey, Chris, it's National Pickle Day because I get 4 or 5 pickles for my lunch with my Choose 2. So, but yes, I say all that. Last 2 times I've been to McAllister's in Lawton, no pickles. No pickles. In fact, I wouldn't say I threw a hissy fit. Phil and Ronnie would probably say it was a hissy fit, but McAllister's people brought me a chocolate cookie for not having pickles. So Doc says Morgan's better at quarterback than Weber by a landslide. So 2 questions then. Why is Weber at quarterback? Is it because you can move Morgan other ways? And my second question, does Morgan throw the football better than Weber? Exchange, Adair Davis was a great game last year. Doc, coach's thing over there at Marlowe. Okay. Well, I mean, I can see. I mean, if you can have Morgan at different places, and I can see that. Hunter, if Morgan is the guy, expects to see a heavy dose of quarterback runs for the L. Yeah, absolutely. And that's how Bishop McGinnis, that's what Bishop McGinnis did against Guthrie with Junior Harris. He's a sophomore, by the way. He's really, really good. I don't know if Guthrie made him look good, but the way I think he does that to a lot of teams, but it made a big difference for them. So it can be done. I've seen it firsthand. And Morgan, yeah, if Morgan's the quarterback, they're definitely running the ball. In fact, if he's he's quarterback, that means he gets the ball faster. So I think Marlowe will be fine. I mean, obviously you like to have all your players available, but if you're Marlowe, you lose a quarterback, it's always good to have a Morgan on your team. Productions, kid named Brent Wolf as a quarterback. Okay. Chris Grillo pickles are the best. Grillo. See, I'm dill. I'm basic. People. Yeah, I'm dill pickle. Love McAllister's pickles are the best. I got upset because I like to get the choose two, one of that Spud Max, no sour cream, no chives. And then the ham and cheese melt, no mustard, no mustard, no tomato. And they used to put the little pickles on there, which was great. Then they stopped doing that, so now you get one pickle spare, and I always end up getting 4 or 5 pickle spares. No, it's right. It throws my whole. Not having pickles throws my whole. Ham and cheese sandwich, and so when they don't have pickles, then I got, well, do I go with the side salad to go with my Spud? It throws it all off. It's trashy. Jordan and Edmund, they never run out of pickles. Production says I have highlights from Mount St. Mary's. Mount St. Mary's. Yeah, they took advantage of their schedule early. When they played the best teams, they lost to the best teams on their schedule, similar to Cashin. Morgan quarterback. That's kind of the question I asked earlier, Chris. I think it's ideally Morgan can line up at running back or wide receiver. You can throw the ball to Morgan. You can do many different things by moving Morgan all the way. He can't throw it to himself, so. But Doc confirms that he can air it out. Well, here's the other thing. Morgan he's going to play for Oklahoma State baseball. So I would certainly think he knows how to throw a football. So, yeah. But I didn't know how well. But I didn't mean it the way it probably came across. But, yeah. Division I baseball player, I'm pretty sure he can throw a football pretty good. Throws triple digits in baseball, but he can throw. Okay, so that's the part. I know he can. Obviously, he can throw the ball. I just didn't know. I've never seen him having to throw a football. Get some Marlowe. Man, a lot of Marlowe and Davis. Love it. I think playing Morgan at quarterback will give him a break and let him not be as worn out as linebacker. He got tired against Washington because they did everything. Yeah. But he's used to it. Well, look who's to the party. Tony Wilson. So we started at 9 o'clock, Tony. I thought we were going to go till 10 o'clock. And then the Night Owls are coming out. Tony is one of the big. Tony is up. Tony sleeps 2 hours a day and drives 785 miles a day as well. That's what Tony does. Hunter Shepard. Talking about Marlowe football, Tony. Still got to play him on defense. Got to have your best athlete out there. Yep, especially this time of the season. Tony. So Tony called me Saturday and texted me yesterday. Sorry, Tony. It was busy both times. And, yeah, I have no other reasons. I was busy at the time, then I got busy. Tony confirms Outlaws are good. So the topic tonight, one of the main topics tonight, Tony, is Marlowe appears to maybe have lost their quarterback. So Mr. Morgan's going to have to run the quarterback spot, we believe. So Tony's Chandler Lions. Oh, by the way, speaking of Tony Wilson, we got a package delivered to the studio from Chandler, Oklahoma. We'll be opening that up on Wednesday night. We're going to get some 2A love from Chandler. Yep, I was looking up my information. I know it was 20 to 15, right, Tony? I'm going to look it up here. Tony, not Tony, Chandler. Chandler, Tony, same thing. Was it 2015, Tony? I'm trying to find it here. 2015 Kiefer. So Tony will not be going to Washington this week. Close, though. Really close. Yeah, Hudson Morgan, number 15, faux show. He sticks out. So, hey, with all the Marlowe folks, is Jace, is he still kicking, punting? Where's he at now? What's he doing? Oh, Tony says threw a pick in the end zone with 16 seconds left to win. Threw a pick in the end zone with 16 seconds left to win it. Oh, no. Oh, no. Man, Chandler just had a hard time keeping players out, all the injuries and all that stuff. So, wasn't he at Iowa State? Yes. I didn't know. I was trying to figure out where he's at now. So, Chris Frost, you're going to have to all stand up to be seen over the pile of swag sent to the high school huddle. Yeah, that in Tony's box is, or Chandler's box, or whoever sent it, looks big, pretty big too in there. So, okay, still at Iowa State. Okay, still at Iowa State. Yeah. We keep talking about the more and more we get, but we haven't had a lot of people lately ask us for our mailing address. So Chandler and Lone Grove are the only ones that we think is coming. Well, we know Chandler's already been delivered, but Lone Grove, I think, is the only other one that has been requested our address. So we might be slowing down at the end of the year. How cool was that prior box? Tony, I don't know if you guys see the prior box, man. They sent us a 10-0 district championship football autograph. That was, he talked about, man, if, footballs we talked about helmets and jerseys, but we never thought about a game ball football. That was pretty cool. Tony, who's the number one team you want that you don't have? Who is the number one team you want that you don't have? I did pick Broken Arrow to win the state title early on. I switched that to Bixby. I picked Talihina to win it. I feel good with that. A2. I picked Rejoice Christian to win A1. I feel good about that. 2A2. I picked Davis to win that. The Adair and Vian, man, I can make good cases for them. I can make great cases for them. But I picked Davis to win it at the beginning of the season. 2A1 football, picked Washington at the beginning of the season to win it all. And after tonight's conversations, I feel sorry, Marlowe fans, but I think I feel a little bit better. Of course, Washington beat Marlowe full strength, but I picked Washington to win it all. Jones is the question mark there. Metro Christian's a question mark there, but I really like Washington. We'll see. 3A football, picked Lincoln Christian to win it at the beginning of the year. Sulphur, 3A might be the easiest one to pick. Lincoln Christian, Sulphur in the championship game. I don't want to say a gimme, but boy, it sure does look like both teams will dominate their way to that game. We'll see. That's what makes it fun. But 4A football, sorry, folks. Of course, my Elgin folks know all about that already. They've heard all the excuses from me. I picked Tuttle to go 14-0 on the year. I will say this. If you play football, I'll use my town, Guthrie, for example. If you play first grade football in Guthrie, second grade in Guthrie, third grade in football in Guthrie, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, that goes a long, long ways for me. I'm all about town. I'm all about tradition. And if like in basketball, if you get 5 new starters from 5 different towns, it's all in the rules and more than welcome to it. But, man, if you played Elgin football in the first grade and you're a senior, I can root for that every single day of the week. And will. Nothing against other ones. That it's just human instinct. Some people want to transfer here and transfer there, and love the transfer thing because it's all about them. Ugh, they can do that. Absolutely, they can do that. It's just, I think that might be a sign of getting old too. Maybe that's just what it is. Tony talking about Broken Arrow swag. Yeah, we've heard some interest about Broken Arrow, but Tony says Metro since day one. So Tony Wilson, I have after Washington got beat by Sulphur, I moved Metro to number 1, and I've kept them there the entire time. So yeah, I'm on the same page with you. But when it comes to on the field, which I think we'll see in the state semifinals, I will go with Washington. If Washington and Metro play tomorrow, I'm going with Washington. But Hunter says OCS might beat Metro. OCS played Jones tough there. Jones ran away within the 4th quarter. Yes. For personal reasons, I wouldn't mind seeing OCS there because Tanner Roof. Really like Tanner Roof. Know his mom, dad, his brother, his sister. Know them all well. Been at their house when they lived in Guthrie. So I can get behind OCS. Tanner was the former coach at Edmond North before moving over to OCS. Productions, Lincoln Christian is great, but I'm biased since I have a cousin there. Let's go Colts. And Lincoln Christian, Doug Nelson, he does a broadcast production over there for all the sports. And with basketball and football, I've gained a lot of friends over at Lincoln Christian. Really, really nice people. So, yeah, I know a lot of folks. The private school thing, it's a real deal. It is a real deal, and so a lot of people dislike them for the advantages. And we don't need to get into all that, but they are very good people over there at Lincoln Christian. Tony, sorry about your tough loss for your Jays. Hell of a draw first round. Yep, 9-1, 8-2. Game of the week. And so no surprising that Bishop McGinnis won the game. 42-35 is a lot of points, but Bishop McGinnis, they never trailed in that game, and they were good. Guthrie didn't quit. Guthrie was down 28-7, tied up at 35. Looked like Guthrie was going to be 56-7, honestly, Tony. But hey, senior class went out, played in the state championship last year, and I hate to lose. Guthrie hadn't lost that home first round playoff game since 2001. So Guthrie went a long time without losing a home playoff game. But Bishop McGinnis, they were definitely the better team that night. Their offensive line's huge. Their quarterback got hurt week 10, running the running back, sophomore. He's a stud. Junior Harris is his name. 147 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. Guthrie couldn't tackle him. Doc Holliday, kind of on what I'm seeing, doesn't see anyone stopping Tuttle other than Tuttle. And, they have dominated. The closest game, I think, was the first game of the year against Guthrie, 38-13. They won that game. Tony's not afraid to share his opinion. 0 chance OCS beats Metro, Hunter. 0 chance, Tony? You got it. There's got to be a chance in there. Can't be 0. Can't be 0. Boy, Hunter's doubling down. Don't be shocked. Good. Now I can something to look forward to when I'm checking out scores. Can OCS beat Metro? King Kang Ing. OCS got a pretty good quarterback too. Is that his? I know King Kang Ing is with Metro. He threw for 240 yards. Creighton? Is something Creighton? Am I getting my schools mixed up? No, I'm not. Creighton Allen, OCS, 21-27, 288 yards, 3 touchdowns. Running back, Sage, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver, Eli Winter, 6 receptions for 94 yards as OCS beat Lindsay, 49-7. Lindsay, a pretty good year for the Leopards. Ref the Jeff is from Lindsay, Oklahoma. Boy, Hunter is all over OCS. Only trailed Jones 16-14 at halftime. Productions. Do you know Colton Mosney? I do not. I do not know Colton Mosney. Junk. You switched it to Adair, didn't you? If you're talking to me, Junk, no, I did not. I thought about it. So I thought my on the last week's show, it was either I had picked Davis, I was thinking about Adair, but I went the 6A1 route. I had picked Broken Arrow. Instead, I went with Bixby. If I didn't have Bixby, I might have gone to Adair. But the more and more I think about Vian, and Mason Wright, I need time to think on that one too. So, Tony says Kiefer has a huge offensive line. Tony, got a lot of Washington folks in here. How do you see Kiefer and Washington playing out this week? Leopards. Tony talking about Lindsay Leopards, the Leps. Uh-oh. Tony says Hunter's bumped his head. Tony's not having any OCS talk, Hunter Shepard. Okay, so he's at Lincoln Christian, 54. I can write that down and ask my good friend Doug Nelson. I'll be talking to Doug here shortly on some other things. Colton, was it Mosney? Colton Muncie. 54, Lincoln Christian. I know Carter Ricky plays for Lincoln Christian. What did Carter do this week? I got some Carter Ricky. Where are you at, Carter? You're so fine. Did I not write it down? Carter Ricky 3. I got a Holland Hall. Well, Holland Hall holds on for a close win over Berryhill, 28-27. Berryhill 2-point conversion. Dutch first overtime victory since 2006. It was 21-21 after regulation. Lincoln, nope. Oh, I did. Lincoln. So Ricky, 12 of 13, 237 yards and 5 touchdowns. It was 49-0 at halftime. Tony says, I didn't know Hunter knew any other word other than Washington. Oh, come on, Tony. You know that's not true. How about Pecola, Oklahoma? You think Hunter might know about you think he might know about Pecola? Or are you used to anymore? Tony got his thoughts on Kiefer Washington. He says Washington win by 2 scores. Ground game will be too strong for Kiefer. D. Chandler had a 57-yard touchdown called back late for a holding 20 yards downfield. Ugh. My bad, Tony says. True that, Alyssa. Junk, thank you so much for tuning in, man. We just got a few more minutes left here as well. I didn't realize it was 11:48. This was the fastest time ever on here. Holy smokes. Thank you, Junk. More questions for Tony. You think Marlowe could beat Kingston? Oh, yeah. I can answer that one for Tony. Tony says all-nighter. Let's see, Tony, you can work off of 2 hours of sleep. So I'm on the Logan County Excise and Equalization Board here in town, in the county, and I have a 9 a.m. Zoom meeting on how to be a good equalization board member. So not very many people get to say that. It's my required ongoing education. How to be a good equalization board member. I don't think that's what it's called, but it's what it feels like. Productions, I got one class Monday, but I do have little acts highlights to work on. Yeah, productions, I got to do one final Guthrie highlight production I got to do as well to end the season there. Years they've been using the highlights of our productions for their football banquet. Tony says, make sure the county spends their money right. Well, that's the excise board to make sure the money is spent right. And Logan County does a fantastic job of that. The equalization board. So if you get, I've only had one of these in this scenario here. When you get your property tax and you feel like the assessor was wrong on evaluating your house, you can obviously talk with them, try to work it out. But if you can't work it out with the assessor's office, then they come and do a protest to the equalization board. And so then the equalization board has to look at property values and what they added, not added, all that stuff, and determine who's right or wrong. But the most popular one is the oil and gas and windmill companies. It never fails. The assessor thinks the value for a oil gas pipeline deal is $5 million. And the pipeline people go, we only think it's worth $300,000. Like, couldn't be completely off. But anyway, we have to hear, it's like a courtroom, basically. You hear both sides, you make a decision. So that's what equalization is. So it's really, really fun stuff. And a lot of people are just willing to take that on. So anyway, enough of that boring talk. What's probably going to be your GOW game of the week? You know, Tony, someone asked about that. I've not looked at it yet. That's usually my Chris, sounds riveting. Yeah. I've learned so much about the oil and gas industry and flow and all that great stuff. Dormant pipeline, and yeah, it is riveting. That's a good word for it, riveting. Game of the week, Tone, I don't know. I certainly think Dell City Lot MacArthur is up there. I think McAllister Carl Albert has to be up there. Newcastle Pride, heck, all 5A games might be on there. Last week we had 5 of the 10 games were 5A, and I think we might have 4 of the top 10 again in the top 10. 6A football, I certainly think Broken Arrow Mustang will be in the top 10 somewhere. Chaltosapalpa maybe. I always find when I pick the top 10 games of the week, everyone remembers 5A4. Get that? When I look at the top 10 games of the week, unless it's like Bixby Jinx, I try to get the top 10 games that we might have different opinions on. Because if I pick Bixby and Union in the top 10 games, everyone's picking Bixby. That's no fun. If I put Owasso and UConn in the top 10, everyone's going to pick Owasso. That's no fun. I always try to find those games, and it doesn't matter east, west, north, or south. That's what's really cool about the High School Huddle is we really take a big, full picture of the state. Try to anyway. I feel like we do. It's a top 10 game, but it's also toss-up games just to get different opinions. I think it makes a better show. I think it makes for better conversation. Sand Springs, Piedmont. I think everybody would pick Sand Springs to win that game. Doesn't mean that won't happen, but would pick that game. Grove and Tuttle. I think everyone would pick Tuttle. It just depends. It just depends on the games. So I have not done that part yet. Hunter has me wanting to put OCS and Metro in the top 10 now, the way he's talking. Salina and Davis. I mean, that's a top 10 matchup, I think. Bacola Fairview, Miko Tonkawa. Hooker Rejoice. That's a rematch of last year's state championship game. Wynnewood hasn't lost the game. They got Pawhuska coming to town. So there's going to be some good ones. Tony loves seeing the distance. We talked about the distance earlier as well. How did 5A4 end up? Tony, they ended up, Grant Oliver said they were going to go 4-0. I said they were going to go 2-2. I think I said they were going to go 2-2. They went 2-2. McAllister wins in double overtime over Coweta. No, that can't be right. McAllister beat McCollinsville in double overtime. Coweta lost. Del City beat Booker T. And Claremore beat Coweta. That's what it was. So Claremore beat Coweta. Booker T lost to Del City. Prior one. That's the other one. Prior one. Chris, it's near 3 hours now. I'm calling you two to pull your plug. Sorry, everybody. Okay, yeah. It's time to exit stage left here in a second. Let's finish up these comments here real quick. Have you talked A2 yet? Yes. In this 3 hours, we have definitely talked A2. Not as much, though. Let me go here real quick. Fairland, they're going the road to Mangum. Mangum's really good this year. Fairland, though, something tells me Fairland might be upset alert. Tallahena Hilton. I like Tallahena there. Southwest Covenant beat Kanawha. That's a 4 beating a 1. That's the other one. That game was 28-26. That was a rematch of a game earlier this year. Southwest Covenant won that game 7-0. Kanawha had won, I think, 8 games in a row, but Southwest Covenant wins in the first round. Allen beat Woodland. We will have a new champion in A2 football. Hominy destroys Regent Prep. Thomas gets by Ringling. And so we have Thomas at Hominy. I really like Hominy. I think Hominy has a pretty good path to the state championship game. I like Allen. Allen's got to go on the road, but I really like Allen in that one. I like Tallahena. They're my state championship pick. And nothing's official, but I like Fairland right now over Mangum. Final decision on Wednesday. Well, for me and probably you, but not for high school. I'm not sure what that is. Mustang Broken Arrow will be fun. Absolutely, it'll be fun. That's definitely in the top 10. In overtime for Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Del City. Yes, that game was in overtime. How many overtimes have we done? It feels like 5. This is a really good game. I think that's 5, right? Fairland to Hominy, Mangum. Yeah, 339 miles. Okay, Chris Frost says I have to leave. I will go with him as well. Thank you, everybody on Facebook, everybody on YouTube, everybody on TikTok. This went extremely long, but really, really great conversation. So thank you guys so much. Again, came away with a lot of notes to pay attention to as well. So appreciate you guys. Talk to you next time. Don't forget High School Huddle Wednesday night, 6 o'clock. Ronnie Phil, another show. Go way more in depth with this stuff as well. So be a lot of fun. Talk to everybody on Wednesday night.